ดีครับวันนี้พวกเรามาถ่ายงาน
ที่พวกนายไม่ต้องแต่งเยอะหรอกสุดท้ายก็ไม่ใช่ผู้ชนะอยู่ดี
ยินดีต้อนรับเข้าสู่ประเทศไทยคุณมาพักร้อนใช่ไหมเพราะทีมพี่นะคือทีมเราฮะอันนี้อะไร
Rapaziada, cheguei do Brasil, os caras italianos me dando lencinho. Isso aqui é pro choro de vocês, rapaz. Ó, vocês são muito ruinzinhos, ó. Ruim.
Aqui é o Brasil.
Vamos bater nesses caras aqui no quintal da casa deles.
Hey Brazil, mending kalian balik aja ke lapangan bola. Kalian nggak akan bertahan di FFWS tahun ini.
O que é isso? Uma bola?
Ủa? Cái gì vậy?
Hình như ai gửi cho mình nhờ. Chắc là thiếu fan của Vũ.
Đường ghê.
Uy, eso está bien tierno, ¿verdad? Como tu forma de jugar. Vayan a animarnos como porristas mejor.
Yakin? Hati-hati sikit. Budak, itu perangkat kau sendirilah. Apa ni?
Badu.
Ustedes ridículos sigan payaseando. La confianza es nuestra fortaleza y estamos tan seguros que podemos ganarle hasta con los ojos cerrados.
Ý hay đấy, nhưng mà mình sẽ cho các bạn ngủ thật ngon dưới đấy, bạn xếp hạng. Cái gì đây? Cái mũi à? Mà để làm gì?
อันเนี้ยเผื่อไว้ให้เพราะได้เจอทีมไทยอ่ะก็ไม่มีลมหายใจแล้ว
พวกเราอ่ะซื้อตั๋วรอพวกนายแล้วพวกนายอ่ะไม่ต้องทำเยอะหรอกเตรียมตัวเก็บกระเป๋ากลับบ้านได้เลย
ये टिकट हमारे किसी काम का नहीं है देखते हैं कौन हारता है और कौन जीतता है इट्स अ पार्ट ऑफ गेम
Hello survivors and welcome back to the Free Fire World Series 2023, and what a way to open the day for week 1 day 2 of knockouts. I have to say, gentlemen, I love that opening. For anyone that may have just tuned into the broadcast or is a little bit late to the show and missed out on day 1, don't worry, my name is Dana Lee, and of course joining me are our wonderful casters, the Mustachio AJ as well as Husky. Gentlemen, I want to hear your thoughts about that trailer because I kind of want to watch it again.
It wouldn't be the World Series if there wasn't a little bit, just a tad bit of trash talk in there.
Trash talk?
We saw that as well. We saw that during FFWS, and I think me and AJ were wondering, well, will we see something similar for FFWS? They definitely delivered on that. I want more.
I do want more. But speaking of more though, we kind of need to let everyone know what is currently happening with the tournament. And this is going to be helpful if you missed out on the matches yesterday. So for the entirety of the tournament format, we are going to kick things off with the knockout stage that's going to be happening this weekend. Now, of course, these teams are trying to aim for top 12 because if you don't make top 12, you are out of the competition and nobody wants to drop out from the get-go. Now, we do have the prize pool on the screen as well, with first place taking home a $300,000 prize. And of course, we had the MVP award, which is going to be a nice bonus for the best player of the tournament.
I mean, if you go back early, you had a good holiday in Bangkok for more than 3 weeks, plus 18,000 US dollars in your pocket. I mean, I wouldn't cry myself a river, but I definitely want to get into the grand finals.
And for me, I hope that we don't go to the tiebreaker scenario, right?
Yes.
Because the tiebreaker rules are pretty brutal if we go down to that final, that last condition, the survival rank for the last round. We've never had that happen before, and I hope we never have to get there. But we also have the team list. Play for today is between Group B and Group C. Group B, Furious Gaming, WASK, RQ Kazu, God of Wolf, C, Triple G, and WAG. We saw them yesterday. They're going to play again today.
Yep, and now we are going to be introducing our new grouping for the day. AJ, can you introduce Group C for us?
Absolutely. We've got the Brazilians loud, and they are going to try to make it as loud as possible as they scream booyah by the end of the day a couple of times. PE Sports from Vietnam, Expand from MCPS. We've got EXPS as well, Nigma Galaxy as they used to be known, OSK, as well as PocoStar from Indonesia.
Yes, so we do have Group B and C playing today. Now, do want to remind our viewers, today is going to be the last day for Group B. So this is their last hurrah. Whatever points they're looking to get, it's going to have to be today. Whereas for Group C, it's going to be their debut. And I kind of want to say they have an advantage here because they have seen these teams in Group B already play. So they've got a little bit of information to work with. Speaking of information, here are the overall standings from yesterday. So this is the current standings for teams in Groups A and B. The teams on the very right with 0 points, that is all teams from Group C. They have not played as of yet, so they are playing catch up with everybody in today's games. Now, of course, our game schedule, it's going to be pretty standard across the board, just like yesterday. We're going to kick things off with Bermuda.
And of course, we'll follow that up with Purgatory for match number 2, Alpine Kalahari Nextera, and then we hit that randomizer for map number 6.
Of course, for the team stats, we got to look at EXP Esports, formerly known as Nigma Galaxy. 3rd place finish in FFWS 2022 Bangkok just last year. Coming in with the exact same roster, if I remember correctly. And you can see on the stats, one of the more aggressive teams, of course, because they are from Thailand.
And that's exactly why I thought you were going for a pun. The tiebreaker, you know, not the tiebreaker.
Hey, okay, I missed that. I'm sorry, guys.
I mean, A124, no doubt whatsoever. Definitely one of the most abused characters out there, especially for all of these rushes. But, you know, you're probably going to see that across many of these teams, Daddy.
Yes. Now, we're going to introduce PocoStars very quickly on the screen. Now, gentlemen, we haven't seen PocoStars play as of yet. What are we going to be expecting from this team?
Oh, people who have followed Indonesian Free Fire actually have seen the players from PocoStar, right? Like, for example, Fires MKS on our screen with the most used character being the Tatsuya, one of the more aggressive rushers for the squad. Previously, they were known as GRC Aphrodite. They were one of the kind of the dark horses of Indonesia, and when they played in FFSI, they actually gave us a heck of a display, a show of force.
And this is the head-to-head as well, a 2.1 to 1.7 limbs from 18 Deer versus Caramel. Obviously, this is from their individual local leagues, so when they hop on out there within the exact same lobby, we'll see exactly which one reigns supreme, whether it's going to be the Thai team or the one from Indonesia.
I think for Caramel, we have seen him again. He finished 3rd last year. So this is a very reliable member on the side of EXPS. But then you look at the counterpart, right? On PocoStar, you have 18 Deer, who also plays almost the exact same role. But in this case, in a more supporting role for the team. And it did take him a while to really start shining during FFSI. But once he got that gear rolling, I think him and Raz were kind of the dynamic duo for the team at that time.
All right, guys, I think we're gonna have to break things down a little bit for our viewers as we do introduce the new teams in Group C, as well as the existing teams that played yesterday in Group B. So I think the general consensus we had yesterday, right, was that we had a lot of the big teams in Group A. Now we've separated Group A, taken them out of the equation. What are we sort of looking at here for Group B and C? Do we have any teams that we are looking at and being like, okay, they are the teams, the stars to watch out for?
I mean, obviously, EXPS is going to be looking to make a lot of noise here. PocoStar, GRC, they are no strangers to the competition thus far. But let's take a quick look at the stars that we have to watch out for today as well. I mean, Dew from EXPS, just like Caramel, this guy, he knows his shots, especially from those long-range angles.
You look at the elimination comparison, right? 3.42 as compared to Abe with only 2, and Chris from Osaka with 1.9. So Dew is leaps and bounds ahead in terms of getting those eliminations. And he also has a pretty good repertoire under his belt, right? If you look at the results from FFWS, I believe he's 5th place in Bangkok, but he also was 1st place in Season 1 of FFPLS. So this man is very, very experienced. And to answer your question, Danny, I think when you look at the comparison of Group B and C, you just need to look at the top 6 in the current leaderboard. 1st, 2nd, and 6th are from Group A. 3rd, 4th, and 5th are actually from Group B. You have RQ Kazu leading in 3rd place. I think WAG is also on that list. So I think they're going to give... And C-Triple-G, right? So they're going to give Group C a run for the money. I agree with AJ. I think EXPS is a team to watch. PocoStar as well, but I'm actually looking at Loud from Brazil, the 3rd Brazilian representative. Now
speaking of Loud, now not just Loud in general, I think we are on the consensus here that Brazil is just doing fantastic at World so far, right? The region in general has just been overperforming our expectations. But we've got to talk about Loud, right? Loud is the team that got, I believe, the first seed for the region, and by a pretty large margin as well. I think if we did the comparison between them and Magic Squad, I believe, came 5th. So what are we sort of expecting here from Loud? Because, I mean, they've set the bar pretty high for themselves just from their regional qualifier.
I mean, the last time we were in Bangkok, the Brazilians were pretty loud. So if these guys are stepping on in and they're already claiming exactly how loud they're going to be out there, I'm looking forward to it. But we still haven't really seen them kind of mix and jive with all of these teams from across the world. I think the last time we did see them on the world stage was back in Sentosa 22.
Yes, this is actually a Marina Bay Sands, right? 2021, they finished 2nd at MBS, and that was the season that Evo's Phoenix won.
Yeah.
And then the year after that, they played Sentosa, they finished 7th, and that was the season that Attack All Around won. So this is their 3rd appearance.
Their 3rd appearance. Now, speaking of appearances, we are going to be having a quick look at the teams as we get ready to jump into our first game of the day. Yes, it's just around the corner, but we do get a quick look to see what the mental is like in these booths, right?
Actually, I just want to correct myself. This is their 4th appearance on the world stage. Their very first appearance was actually back in the very first World Series in Sao Paulo. That one was won by a Brazilian team on home soil, but the first World Series, they finished 9th place. So you have a record of 9th, 2nd, and 7th, and they missed last year in Bangkok. So you have a year's worth of gap for Lao before they kind of return to the world stage.
Yeah, motivation, right? Like you have a bit of a gap here, but then now you're motivated to come in and actually take the crown for your region. Considering that Brazil hasn't had any success, unfortunately, due to Thailand. But to be able to steal that away on Thai soil, I think that would be a massive statement for the region. But it looks like we are ready to load our teams into the plane so we can jump into our first game for Groups B versus C. I do believe we had some predictions for this round, and I know AJ and I, we after what happened yesterday, we have God of Wolves as our top prediction. But Husky, I want to know, what was your top prediction for Bermuda?
To be very honest, I actually don't remember. let me look at it very, very quickly. I think for me, I didn't include God of Wolf, but I do have EXPS, X-Nigma Galaxy. I have PE Esports because this was also a team back in FFSI. PE Esports had one of the highest booyah ratios on Bermuda out of like 18 teams. So I am looking forward to see if they can repeat the same performance. And of course from Group B, I have C-Triple-G because they are currently in 4th place, and I'm confident they can put up a consistent performance.
I hope that confidence is going to pay off for some of these teams, because for Group C, it's their first game of the entire tournament. So, of course, you do want to kick things off in the best way possible. And the best way to do that is to get that booyah, to get that first place and all of those eliminations. But ladies and gentlemen, game number 1 for week 1, day 2 is about to begin. Who is the team that's going to take the crown for today's game? And it looks like we're going to be going down the map here, right down the center. I want to know, where is that high tier loot zone? Because I know yesterday we didn't see too many teams actually try to compete for the high tier loot zone. It was more or less given away. Is that maybe going to be a bit different for this grouping?
I'm thinking probably it's going to be the exact same story. Unless, of course, teams do get a little bit more cheeky later on as they start to notice not too many of those big teams going towards the blue circle, because it is a very, very risky maneuver. The way things are looking right now, PE Sports, WASK, don't do it. Yes, they are going to do it. Right at peak, and guess who's there for the third party once again? RRQ.
RRQ. RRQ looks like they're going to be split
you
again.
Say that. You say that, and RRQ just got dropped. Well, at least one of their players did.
Okay, here's the thing. I mean, we saw on the map just now, right? RRQ split up again. They did this yesterday. I know AJ is not a big fan of this splitting strategy just because it leaves you very vulnerable, but it seems to just be RRQ's general style. But yeah, they haven't had too much success with it.
It's a big risk, big reward kind of thing. I mean, if you manage to pull it off, you're probably going to get into the final circle, you know, full on with the utilities and the capability to grab that booyah as well. We've seen them kind of get into that final circle confidently already, right? But we've also seen them get wiped out a tad bit too early as well because of that maneuver.
PE Sports is also no strangers to all these early fights, right? A lot of times they find themselves sharing a zone with 2-3 teams and they somehow make it out alive. And this roster has stayed together for a really, really long time since FFSI. That was kind of the first time we saw them on a regional stage. In this case, I would say that the onus is on WASK to somehow break through this this battle line, if they want to make a dent, I think you can still fall back. That UAV will prove to be a bit troublesome for WSK if they stay around a bit longer.
Lost 21 is making so much of noise. That is his second elimination. And he's the loudest one on Loud at this point of time. The last time we saw PE Esports, we kind of named them, we kind of rebranded Bermuda to Bermuda because of how dominant they were. And I think this is going to end the exact same way as well. Zizox, Dowley, both out of the equation. Ali and Genius need to back away from this situation as Naro gets taken down. RRQ finally steps into the battle.
Which is pretty crazy because RRQ just had 2 members got revived and they are still trying to get some points in the process. Genius is now going to be trapped behind his own glue wall. New K will be just waiting for this glue wall to fall before attempting to go for that knock, and Genius somehow still has 100 HP left. New K losing that 1v1. Not the best situation for PE Esports, and WSK cashes in on their first point.
Yeah, great play by Genius. Just 12 more HP left on him. He has a couple of medkits left to play with here. Don't cry. About to get picked up. RRQ Kazu. They don't need to worry about a bait. So this is the opportunity for PE Esports to find a little bit of recovery, and Lost 21 once again on the elimination feed, and he's still going at it. Can we take a look
know what's happening
at Lost 21? Observers, how are we not looking at the Brazilians at this point of time?
It's not even just Loud. It's even C Triple G. There's a massive fight happening on the other side of the map, and we didn't even get to see this. Insane. I mean, players are getting revived non-stop as well.
And Lost 21 is buying back his own players as well. I mean, this is just insanity right now from the Brazilian squad. We missed a majority of that, unfortunately.
It's too brutal. We can't show it. They're kids watching this broadcast. I do have Loud on my top 3 prediction, but I didn't expect them to start off Bermuda on such a strong note. I know that when we look at Purgatory and perhaps Alpine afterwards, Loud is going to have a great run, but this is such a good start for them. PE Esports able to bring the whole team back, and they actually got 4 points out of everything. And you look at the total team count, all teams are still in this game, and I say that Lost 21 just wiped out C Triple G.
Loud didn't wipe them out. It was just 21. I mean, that guy's just insane on another level. New K gonna take that out of the equation, and it looks like PE Sports once again gonna pretty much own Bermuda as what they did at FFSI. This is a opportunity for PE Sports now to pick up all of the loot off of the crates of their opponents, continue towards this next circle. But God of Wolf, on the other hand, Poco Star, and see if or not they can hold up against the Indonesians.
We do need to remember as well, right? This is the map that God of Wolf specializes in, so we'll have to see if Poco Stars can break through this, because if they can, that's going to be a huge statement for this team.
I think Raz just broke the Sonya on one of the GOW player. Izagot stood no chance. They even have a grenade launcher this early on in the hands of Liam. This is not looking good for GOW. Instead of UAV being sent out, and that means that everyone gets pinged out in the building. So this makes things a lot more complicated. GOW split from one and another. You gotta take these 1v1s, and Raz is not the easiest target to fight alone, let alone when you have members that is fighting beside him. So that's 2 members of GOW down, and Poco Stars is not done just yet. The third one also on the menu. Poco Stars making quick work of GOW.
Yeah, 18 Deer with the Mac 10 in hand. All they do is just leave Dian all alone. Poco Star will have to be a little careful now. Here comes Furious Gaming. Furiously straight up towards them. Raz down on the ground. No recovery from them just yet. And Bad will be able to claim that elimination point as Furious Gaming push Poco Star back. Now, there is a vending machine there. They've got more than enough money to buy their team member right back. So Poco is not going to be too sweaty just yet.
Not too hard pressed. They got to find that opportunity to actually get past them. So, bit of a stalemate for both of these teams, but we are going to switch on over to a different perspective here to see what is sort of happening. And looks like we get another God of Wolf player down on the other side of the map. But WAG so far actually looking to make a bit of a push happen up here, but again, not really too exciting around here. I'm kind of wondering what's happening with Loud.
Well, they
They're
went
chilling
silent.
now.
They went silent all of a sudden. I think 21 was like, okay, guys, I need a breather. We just need to chill for a little bit. I think they did use quite a bit of their utilities as well. We saw a couple of grenades getting chucked at their opponents. And C-Triple-G, you know, not going to want to face another encounter like that. But EXPS on a run of their own as well. Second elimination thus far. They want to pick up a car.
You say it loud. Loud is
you
like...
were looking for him, huh?
I think we summoned them.
I think this is going to be an opportunity to see exactly how nasty Loud can get. If they head on straight into the compound for Furious Gaming, PokerStar opens fire as well. We will see if or not Loud is willing to stay and take a two-team fight. Or they're going to just, play this safe. I don't think they're going to try to play it safe, though.
I don't think so, right? Because we have seen the Brazilian teams play rather aggressively. Like, it just seems to be the general regional play style. They're not the ones to sit back and play passively. They're the ones that try to press the issue and force their opponents to fight into them.
Yeah, and this is something that, it's great to see, but I really hope that they're not kind of pushing all of the adrenaline just into this one match, because we saw exactly how Furious Gaming was yesterday in Bermuda, and then they just fizzled out the rest of the day.
Two teams we haven't seen yet. I think we saw like most of the squads, but we haven't seen Osaka. We haven't seen Expand on the map yet. These two teams were very, very silent.
Very quiet.
Isolated. Interesting enough for Expand, right? Usually you would see them around the area of Peak, but definitely not in this round. They switched it up a little bit. GOW somehow still alive. EXPS, on the other hand, might just find themselves some extra free points.
WASK back in the matchup as well. GOW, one player right behind EXPS. Not the greatest position to be caught out, and he wants that revival platform. I don't think he wants the vending machine. We'll have to wait and see exactly how that one breaks down. Furious Gaming still in a great position to take this fight against Poco, but Lee Madras! They both find one each, but it's a player of WASK that gets knocked down. Furious Gaming, they want that elimination point, and I think they can stack this player.
It might have attracted PokerStars for sure. The reposition from PokerStars towards the western side will keep them a bit safer for now. But on the other end, EXPS about to find themselves in a full 4v4 against Osaka, who are just driving in. Casper absolutely knocked into the floor as Esteban also finds stop. There is a trade going on between EXPS and Osaka, but Osaka are winning in numbers. The glue wall barricading off crucial entry points. Justin ends up getting dropped. Duke secures the elimination, but at EXPS, they gotta do a lot more than that.
Two more now. It's a 2v2 stop. The cluster will not find the connection. Chris, UMP, it is gonna be one circle around. One more glue wall goes in for the spray, but just no takedown just yet.
Finds
and
him.
KDS out of nowhere. But Caramel brings back the two players from the side of EXPS, so they are still going to be alive and kicking. Osaka, final player, goes with a sliver of health left, just 38, and he saves the day for the squad.
So aggressive though, but hang on a minute, take a look at the map. We've got some players arriving, so it's not the end for this player. Oh no, they're coming back for revenge.
And Caramel brought them back just in time. So Caramel literally saved his entire team and kept them in the game, and Osaka unfortunately might just meet an early end. But look at this three-way fight. RRQ, Kazu, Furious Gaming, and PokerStars at Clock Tower.
RRQ about to fall.
Oh, stop goes down.
Victim to their own plan of third partying here. PokerStar, all they need to do is just remain a little bit more silent. But Fires gets caught out. Bad with the long shot. Just a knock. No punisher just yet. RRQ, Kazu right above them. So PokerStar, they cannot afford a straight-on engagement. They'll choose to retreat first.
This is going to be a pretty tight deadlock between these three teams. Clock Tower is such an important area to hold because he has so many access points. And when you are in the circle, you basically get to control the center part of the map. And in this case, Abe actually finds a window for himself to start taking pot shots at the members of PokerStar and Furious Gaming.
Yeah, lots of noise on the eastern side of that circle. We do catch a glimpse of Loud that's actually going to be occupying the top section of that circle. So these teams, they're settling into their positions here as this circle gets smaller and smaller. But it seems like most of the action is going to be occupied on the eastern to center section of this circle. Now, I guess the question here is that where is the circle going to go next? Is it going to stay at Clock Tower, or is it going to shift on over to the western side or even the southern side?
This lobby is such a mystery. We've barely looked at the overall map. We haven't really spotted quite a number of these teams. PE Esports, we're seeing them after such a long time. Like you said, Husky, we haven't even seen Expand thus far. And I think that's actually good for some of these teams who are still pretty much well hidden, right? They've got the utilities that they've been picking up thus far. They haven't really gotten into any strong engagements. to waste them. So that puts them in a strong position in the final fights.
Now, P Esports even showing their face on that eastern side of the circle. So the majority of the teams left in the lobby are actually just centered around this very small section of the circle.
Yeah.
But no full engagements there. I think there's a lot of respect being shown in this lobby. These teams, they could go head to head if they really wanted to. It's a little bit too soon though. If you can, try and take the safest shots. Do not give your position up this early on because there are still 9 teams left in this lobby.
And it's a very smart move for P Esports to kind of peel away from Clock Tower. You are asking for a death wish if you approach Clock Tower lane. Was gets taken out. That's beautiful snipe from afar. RRQ 4 eliminations already, and they're still waiting for Furious Gaming to show up.
I mean, it's been 12 minutes and we have not seen Expand on the map at all. Well, I say that finally Too Fast is the first one to get eliminated, I believe, by Krillin. But this is getting more and more intense. Lau might be able to just vulture this. WAG finding the Axel also. Cyrus letting the shots. Crime MKS can't handle 3 members at once. And this is going to be Expand meeting an early end in 8th place. And WAG bagging their 6th point. But now it's Lau showing up to the party. And they want a piece of this. WAG, the Ghost actually gets knocked down by an ability. He needs help from his team right now. But look at Noda. He's running straight in to the entirety of WAG. Dolphin is on the flank, but his back is exposed. Getting shut down by Dew of all people. And Lost 21 continues to go on an absolute rampage. Kawan with the grenade knock onto Krillin. Lau looking to clean things up.
Lost 21 stealing away the elimination onto Dolphin as well. Has got the Trogon in hand. Circles around as WAG gets eliminated from the equation. Loud, 7 eliminations strong. 6 of them just from Lost 21. And that was an easy cleanup for them. And there's nobody else within their vicinity to challenge them.
And now it's time to actually challenge for that pathway to that circle now, because it is going to be heading towards the southern section of the area. So it's no longer anywhere near Clock Tower, and teams are going to have to wrestle their position here because unfortunately there's only so little room to work with now.
Man, P Esports wanted to go for the rotation, but 2 of their members got picked off by RRQ Castle. So this is not looking good. The tempo for P Esports has been slowed down, and RRQ actually wants to push the envelope. They're going in. Razor just on top with the headshot to take the skull of New K out of the equation, and RRQ Kazu might just give P Esports an early exit.
Yeah, great positioning by RRQ Kazu. Hao Ang really low on that HP. One more player who's able to back them up, but RRQ, they've got the numbers, but they go ahead to reposition. They don't want to get too cheeky out here in the open. They know they've got this high ground advantage, but they want to maintain that high ground advantage and not allow any one of those backstabs to creep up on them. Pokestar, on the other hand, going to be stuck in a sticky situation here if they do not make the first move. Loud staying pretty silent right beside them on the right.
Not for long though. Lau is going to have to participate eventually, and look at that circle right in the center. And just out of range from this clock tower, it will definitely gonna force every single team to be out in the open.
Oh yeah.
Question is, who is gonna make that first move?
It's gonna drag everyone out. You are the first one to move, and you're probably gonna be severely punished. So this is the point where you want to have to conserve all of those medkits earlier on, so that you can play the medkit game as the circle starts to close in. Allow some of these other teams to run towards the center and then open fire. It's all gonna be up to who looted better.
Who looted better? Who's going to be looting some of these bodies as they hit the ground as well?
That's true.
So we'll have to see though. So far we are seeing some really good defensive positioning here. Just staying within that section. Do not get caught by any of those shots.
The XPS is just going to drive in. Furious Gaming are using a lot of resources just to hunker down. Lost 21 somehow with that shot from across the map to hit Dew in the head.
It's moving
in.
in.
They still have 10 points. They'll start finding 2 knocks already.
Time to go.
With the Trogon, FG. When are you going to move? You got to leave that bunker right now. You got to somehow fight your way through EXPS. But I think they've taken too long. EXPS took down 3 of their members. That's 13 for the Thai team.
Yeah, great sprays from Casper and that Mac 10. And now it's going to be one final player from the side of Furious Gaming. RRQ on the other hand, getting the floor white with their faces. That's the final player. Trying his very best to play a game of recovery here.
Wow.
Out of the equation. Casper's still alive. The backstab is still alive here, and that's running away with this maze of blue walls.
Man, Lost 21 wiped out 3 members of RQ Kazu, but EXPS, they are not to be outdone. 15 eliminations against Lau, who has 10, but EXPS, they do have a numbers advantage. It's 4 on their side, and Lau only has 3, but perhaps Lost 21 is just a one-man army that Lau needs to work with. Stop is not done just yet. 16 eliminations. RQ Kazu finishes 3rd, and now EXPS has to fight Lau. Lost 21 once more bagging his 10th elimination in a single round, evening up the score.
Oh my goodness, they now have to play very patiently, Husky, because this circle is going to start moving. The macro is going to have to start to kick in. Do you have those glue walls? Do you have the glue wall melters? They need to somehow take that cover out. Otherwise, EXP, they're just going to continue on this push with Loud.
Double Tatsuya, Mexico, and Lost 21 both have it. Look at those Trogon shots. Starting to really whittle down the health pools of the Loud members, but look at that. Lost 21 rushing in. Again, the Tatsuya dash helping to reposition. Mexico getting caught out in the middle, intercepted by Stop. It's Lost 21 against the entirety of EXPS, and it is not doable. A booyah for EXPS. 19 eliminations.
19.
And they match up to the record set yesterday by your two-time world champs. 19 eliminations plus the 12 from the booyah.
EXPS. This is their first game of the league stage, the knockouts, and look at what they've managed to accomplish in this one game alone.
Oh, yeah.
I cannot wait. I know it's early. It is very early, but I cannot wait for the matches tomorrow when we actually pair Group C with Group A, because we thought we saw the Titans in Group A.
Yep.
EXPS, these guys are on a whole nother level in this grouping.
Absolutely. I mean, I expected EXPS to do well in this lobby. They were in one of my predictions for Bermuda, but what I did not expect was for Loud to just explode on the map, right? I mean, Husky, you hit the nail right on the head. Lost 21. He's literally a one-man army, man. I mean, at one point they had 10 eliminations and he alone had 9 of them.
This guy is an armada, right? I definitely had Loud on my list, right?
Yeah.
I think when you look at Brazil as a region, Magic Squad, I mentioned it yesterday, this is the only returning team from last year. They are back for vengeance. And then when I saw Loud, I was like, when these guys, they have been in second place before, they know how it feels. But this opening round from Loud has exceeded my expectations. I think we only have 2 teams that really came out the gate swinging for game 1, and that's EXPS and Loud.
You can say that again, man. I mean, EXPS, they pretty much came out swinging very late into this lobby. Nobody realized they were picking up that many eliminations. Everybody was just focused on Lost 21, and he was making the most noise on the elimination board, right? Elimination after elimination. The rest of his team members just couldn't really catch a breath.
Look, man's aiming for that MVP award. He's like, all right, guys, I know we're aiming for the other prize pool, but that MVP is mine. That bonus prize.
Look at this, man. This is actually crazy. I think if Mexico didn't get caught trying to go for the reposition, there's a good chance that Loud wins that 2v3.
I think there is a pretty good chance, right? But sometimes it really comes down to the coordination when you're trying to execute those late game moves. He was exposed, he got caught with that shot, and there's only so much you can do as one person. You know, in a lot of cases, you don't win 1v3s.
And Lost 21 is pretty happy that Dew got taken out a little bit early there. I mean, the guy ended the lobby with 10 eliminations. Dew was trying to catch up, but he got taken out of the equation a little bit too early. No more revivals. And of course, that is all of our MVP. Lost 21 from Loud. Even though they don't walk away with the booyah, what a impressive run from the guy.
Yeah, and I want to take this opportunity to just remind everyone that EXPS, when they were known as Enigma Galaxy, there was a point in the timeline of Bangkok last year where they were one of the favorites to win the whole thing.
That is correct, yes.
And the only reason that they finished 3rd instead of 1st was because that last round that they completely got bombed out early on. Because if not, they could have been our world champions, right? We said the same for Kate, we say the same for EVO's Phoenix, but we want to hear what the players of EXPS has to say about their Game 1 win.
Welcome back to the interview room on the knockout stage, day 2 of Free Fire World Series 2023. You're with me, your host, On Patira, but as you can see that no one is willing to back up. But we only get one winner, and he's right here. Congratulations to EXP Esports. How do you feel you get the first booyah of today? Is it as you planned?
ได้บูย่าครั้งแรกในวันนี้เป็นเหมือนแผนที่คิดไว้ไหมแบบตั้งใจไว้ไหม
เล่นเหมือนที่ซ้อมไหมครับ
We just play like what we practice to be.
Yes, and it turned out great. Turned out that you got first booyah of today. And you're always a key player of EXP's eSport with a lot of eliminations. Are you confident that you can be MVP of Free Fire World Series 2023?
เราเป็น key player ของ EXP เรามั่นใจไหมว่าครั้งนี้เราจะได้ MVP ของ Free Fire World Series
มั่นใจครับว่าจะเอา MVP โลกให้ได้ครับ
Wow.
I have confidence that I'm gonna be the MVP again.
I love your attitude. I hope you get that. And what is your team target in today? Are you confident in later games?
วันนี้ทีมมั่นใจมากแค่ไหนแบบของวันที่ 2 ของการแข่งขัน
มั่นใจเต็ม 100% ครับจะทำให้เต็มที่ที่สุดครับ
I have 100% confidence and we gonna do our best.
Are there any words you want to say to your opponents?
มีข้อความอยากฝากถึงศัตรูทีมอื่นไหมคะ
ไม่มีครับไม่มี
So
I don't have any.
So anything to say to your Thai fans? Since yesterday, a lot of comments were calling your teams to be MVP and to be the winners.
มีข้อความอยากฝากถึงทีมไทยไหมคะ เนื่องจากว่ามีคนคอมเมนต์แบบอยากเห็นดิวมาเล่น อยากเห็น MVP ฝากข้อความเพื่อนคนไทยเป็นแฟน
ผมจะทำให้เต็มที่ครับอยากได้ MVP ไปฝากคนดูครับ
I'm trying our best. I'm gonna bring back the MVP for everyone.
So don't forget to rooting for Deal as well as an MVP and the winner of Free Fire World Series 2023. Good luck on that, and I hope to see you back up next on the next game. Thank you so much and good luck. Back to you, Shoutcaster.
Man, oh man, this guy, I've got nothing to say to my fans because we're just going to show it to you. That's the statement I got from him. He didn't want to say anything to his fans. He's like, it's fine, guys. We're just going to win every single game. That's what we're going to say to you.
I mean, he has all the rights to say exactly that.
Yeah.
First match out of the gate, they match up to the record set yesterday. I mean, not everybody can get a job done like that. I mean, that was just clean execution.
The average points that you would expect from a team is 20, 25 and above is very good. 30 and above, you are a monster.
Insane.
And speaking about monster, look at this Brazilian man. This lost 21 from Lao. 10 eliminations in a single round. I don't know what he had for dinner, but I know Thai food is damn good when you can perform at that level.
But of course, the MVP of this particular lobby will be due. I disagree, though.
I think it's Labs. I'm pretty sure it's
disagree.
Labs, yeah.
I mean, yeah, EXPS, they walked away with the booyah. That's good. But
it's got to be lost. I think we all agree it's lost.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way, man. You walk away from the lobby, 10 eliminations, and you're not the MVP of the lobby. I mean, Dew kind of clunked out a little bit too early. But, we'll give it to him. If production says Dew is your MVP, he is your MVP. We'll see if or not Lost 21 can grab it in the next 5 matches that we've got.
There's plenty of time. So far, we only have 3 regions that got booyahs, right? Vietnam got 2 yesterday, courtesy of GOW. Buriram got 2 for Thailand. Magic Squad got 2 for Brazil. And now the first booyah still went to Thailand. Now it's courtesy of EXPS Esports, seemingly holding the torch, carrying the torch from Buriram.
A massive lead as well for EXP Esports. 31 points for their first game of the day, and we still have 5 more games to go. Now, of course, Loud managed to pick up 20 points. Very significant for this team as well, but I mean, to start off with 31, I'm just wondering, how fast are they going to catch up to top 3? Like,
very fast.
Buriram is at risk, right?
Yes, yeah.
Magic Squad is at risk. Easily, both of these teams could be overtaken if EXP just continue with this performance today.
I just want to give context on how crazy that round 1 was.
Yep.
They got more points than Hotshot WASK combined. These guys played, WASK in particular, played 7 rounds.
Yeah.
And they still could not score higher than EXPS, who just played 1 round.
Jeez.
That was a deep wound, and you just chucked a bunch of salt into it.
I'll
rubbed
make it worse for you, GOW's bootlickers. GOW finished 53 points yesterday. EXPS covered more than half of that in 1 round.
Well, I think maybe the
on their best map.
I was going to say, right, there's going to be some disappointment for God of Wolf because their crutch was Bermuda, and it just didn't happen this time. So you kind of have to wonder, like, all right, what's going to be the backup plan for this team? Because I know I was joking before the broadcast that, like, oh, what if the random map is Bermuda again, right? Like, back to their crutch map. But if they didn't manage to maybe make top 3 in this round, what's to say they're going to ever make top 3 again if let's say we do get Bermuda as that random.
I mean, luck is always there. They
Luck
struck
is
it
always
twice
there.
yesterday.
Man, you're thinking about top 3. I'm thinking about top 12 at this point.
No, don't be so mean, guys.
Jeez.
Come on. I'm pretty sure they can jump right back.
Hey, okay.
Just do that.
Providing
I'm
loud.
not blaming anybody, okay? I'm giving everyone a chance here. It's Husky. This man's ready to fan some flames. He got motivated after that video.
Okay. I mean, I think the players alone can trash talk each other. We'll just give them emotional support from the corners, right? But I think we're going to have an explosive one from Loud once again. I'm expecting them to make a lot of noise in Purgatory. I did not expect that in Bermuda. So if they were already capable of doing that in match number 1, I'm thinking game number 2 is going to be so much more hotter. But now the biggest question in my mind is, what is EXPS going to do about this? Because once again, it was not just a booyah. It was such a massive one, such an aggressive one with so many eliminations.
Which is crazy. I want to look at our predictions because for me, when you look at Purgatory, I got 2 out of the 3 teams right already, right? EXPS, Loud, with PocoStar. For me, it's in no particular order. I think they all are impressive. I think PocoStar definitely needs some time to warm up, but the other 2, well they're great.
I'm still waiting for my boys, RRQ, to warm up. You know, this team is still a little bit cold. They're still running these really weird split up when the game starts strat.
And that actually should make you really, really confident, because even with all of those insane strategies and kind of like matches being thrown one after the other by RRQ, they're still not at the very bottom of the leaderboard. They're still pretty much in your top 5, right? So this is very impressive out of RRQ.
Yeah, you say that they throw the matches, but they finished 3rd yesterday, right? We kind of agree that they are sort of the sleeper team. Like, you don't really notice that they are there, but they're actually pretty up there.
Yeah. So I'm going to give you a fan's perspective, because that's sort of what I am at this point, right? A fan. So as an RRQ supporter, I guess the main concerns we may have as supporters is that we haven't seen a case in today's matches or yesterday's matches where we thought like RRQ looked really good in an engagement. They seem average, they're consistent, but it doesn't give me enough hope to say like, okay, they can actually take the trophy.
I mean, arguable, mainly because of how aggressive some of these other teams are, like EXPS as well as Loud. You know, you don't really expect a lot from RRQ because they're just not coming, you know, they're just not bursting out of the gate. But it's very respectable that they were able to finish in such a decent placement with, you know, strategies that are not supposed to take the cake at the end of the day. And I think they're forcing this on purpose. They are very confident that they can get into the grand finals. So they're trying to split up as much as possible, use the knockout stages just purely as a training ground to see exactly how well they can match up in some of the gunfights against some of these other squads. And it's brilliant what they're doing, because if they get used to the gunfights a little bit earlier than the rest, because they're forcing it out of themselves, they're going to be a menace to deal with in finals.
I hope that's the strat.
I want to add on.
I think it could be.
I also want to add on to that point as well, because RRQ Kazu isn't really a team that is the most aggressive or explosive when it comes down to close quarter combat, right? You look at the games that they win or the games that they perform really well, usually they excel in long-range pickoffs. They are stealing eliminations away. They are opportunists. They are a slower team compared to teams like Lao, Buriram, or EXPS, and that could be a good and a bad thing. I think it becomes a bad thing when you have to play in the final circle, because these aggressive teams generally beats you, right? But it's also a good thing because you get to be opportunists, you get to take early points for yourselves to keep your team afloat. I think it also comes down to the shot call of Legolas. What does he want to do with the team? If the decision is to split up early on, I have no problem with it, because they've shown time and time again that they can recover.
I've got a huge problem with it. They can recover, but I would prefer to not waste time recovering. I mean, I think the early stages of each and every single match is so crucial for the looting gameplay, as well as prepping yourselves up for the 3rd to 4th circle, right? That's something that RRQ hasn't really focused on doing, but when they do start focusing on that though, that's exactly when we're going to have to pay a little bit more attention to the squad.
Well, we are ready to jump into game number 2. We are flying into Purgatory for our second game of the day, and the question is going to be whether or not is it going to be EXPS to take yet another booyah after an explosive start on Bermuda, or are we going to see a new team today pick up that booyah for our second game? As the teams, they are going to actually jump into this game, and it looks like so far we are seeing only EXPS going into the high tier loot zone. We can see WAG considering it, but I think if you see another team already there, you're going to have to forfeit that. It's a very scary engagement if you want to commit. Oh, they're there.
Big risk, big reward. I mean, you hop on in, you've got no idea exactly who you're going to be shooting at.
Go ahead.
It's a golden start if you're at EXPS, right? You get a high tier loot zone.
Okay. I also see PocoStar playing a very similar strat to RRQ here. Indonesia just seems to love to split.
I think when you're playing around Mode House, it is more acceptable because
Correct,
it is
yes.
a more isolated area.
And nobody goes to Mode House.
It's
these
kind of
days.
like Intellect Center for Nextera. You know,
they didn't
it's-
see anyone
I
anyway.
mean, dude, we saw a lot of people at Intellect Center yesterday.
That was
like,
an
for
exception.
Some weird reason.
For some weird reason. But normally, it's like, yeah, sure. It's like when you drop on Sentosa, that's also one of the few areas
Yeah.
where you can just be like, no problem.
Esteban just punched UK down, and the guy is knocked down to the ground.
Let me this Brazilian
And he
team.
takes him out of the equation.
Oh my gosh.
Well, at least there's a trade, you know. At least there's a trade back.
Oh, if only we could have seen it. Oh, geez.
How did it get to this point?
They hot drop each
Desperation,
other. God
Husky.
of Wolf just watching from afar.
Man, Osaka gotta run. This is not a fight you want to take. If Coast can't get out of this, the rest of his team will not be getting out of this.
Chris getting away with a
Oh.
sliver of health, but how no idea which angle he got that from. Max 7 in hand.
Oh.
And the auto shotgun will be able to find the second knockdown. Esteban, long gone in terms of capability to get back into this fight, and it's all up to Coast! GG, brother. Hao Ang on that right-hand side flank. This is going to be the end of the guy.
Oh, this team is... Osaka horribly crippled this game and already
yeah.
eliminated. They got nothing done this round. Unfortunate for Osaka. But that is sometimes going to end up being the case if you end up dropping with another potential team. So Osaka will have a little bit of extra time to consider what to do for their next round. But this, yeah, if you're Osaka, you're going to be pretty disappointed dropping this early on.
But I will tell you what Osaka achieved. That there was a team in FFSI called Alpha, and one of their dreams throughout the whole league was to knock someone out with their fist. Osaka achieved that.
Yeah, without the cloud. I'm pretty sure.
Without the cloud. That was probably the funniest thing we've seen that time.
Uh-oh.
WAG showing up. WASK will be the target. It's not looking too good for them though. This is a pincer maneuver, but WASK does have that one player from afar. He needs to help his team right now because they are getting picked apart.
Goes with the Trogon. First one down already on the flank. Dowley. Good glue wall just to keep him away. And now in a 1v2 goes AUG in hand as well. Krillin does take Dowley out of the equation, and WAG barely breaking a sweat in this engagement.
Barely breaking a sweat, also getting a number of eliminations as well. So a great start for the team, for WAG, to pick up those elims and also potentially cripple their opponents. So we've seen a couple of eliminations so far, just one team fully gone in Osaka. Now we are going to see Loud's perspective here as they've actually run into P Esports. We got Cowan 7 all on his own. He's got some backup behind him, but no easy shots. Landing a couple, but no drops yet.
The guy not even playing with his glue walls because he has absolutely none. So therefore, offense the best defense here. Don't Cry has to back away. Both of them have the exact same gun. AC-80. Double on the shot. You get doubled up on the damage as well. Don't Cry. Good back away as Nero drops by to say hello. Backing him up with a couple of shots. Don't Cry wants to get into range for that shotgun to punish his opponent.
It's not going to be easy though. It's a 2v4.
Yeah.
Nice.
Disadvantage for Lao, so Cowan ends up first one to go down. Lost 21. The Sonya popped, but unfortunately just overwhelmed. Esports finding two stragglers from Lao. And this is Lao actually also split up.
They did split,
You have two members on the other side of the maps, I think. So this is
Just across the river, I
Just
believe.
across the river,
Yeah, I saw them just across the river. So they were nearby, but yeah, a pretty interesting move for Loud to actually go for a bit of a split there.
Wow.
Calm down.
Oh, Caramel.
Oh, Cyrus goes down.
Still got him? What?
Yep, they got him.
The highest distance, I believe, was 91 meters yesterday by Moshi. Caramel clocked in at 86 meters, so almost.
Clipped him. He continued to bleed. Couldn't patch himself up. Beautiful shots out of Caramel. 2 elimination thus far. That's EXPS. And WAG in a lot of trouble as C-Triple-G drops by the area as well. EXPS on the opposite side. Nowhere for WAG to run, and they get taken out in the 11th spot.
In a horrible spot, in fact, caught between two powerhouses from Thailand. In C-Triple-G now will have to face down the barrels of EXPS. And if they can get rid of EXPS this round, this actually stabilizes the rest of Group C. Except for Osaka, because they bond up pretty early on. But aside from that, on fire, able to stabilize himself for a while. Koskyu needs to help him, bring him back up.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, is this equalizer going to happen at all, or is this just going to be 4 more elims fed away to EXPS? Because this is a very dangerous engagement for C-Triple-G.
WASK full revival. 3 players brought back into the equation. C-Triple-G. They are not setting this one up to counter an attack, but it seems like it is going to be on their side, even as On Fire gets taken down yet again. It looks like EXPS is going for that long flank around, so attack power is just not there yet.
I believe they really wanted to help out On Fire, and one more good supporting fire from the other end. Peter does get traded back though. Stop! What a shot!
Nice
what a nade from Koskyu also. So EXPS actually ends up losing 2 of their members. And C-Triple-G, one more! Finding one more! And they have no idea where this guy is. Dew still gets back up, but EXPS are put on the back foot.
Very smart play by C-Triple-G, not really
It's not
rushing
over.
into this engagement. EXPS going for that long flank, and that was the most terrible decision to make in that situation. Casper gets put down onto the ground. Koskyu gonna pick up yet another for C-Triple-G, and now in a 1v2, but the final player of EXPS is long gone.
And one more literally saving his team in that skirmish. EXPS were ready to go straight for the juggler and pick up 4 kills, like 4 more eliminations like Danley mentioned, but thank goodness that one more was able to stop them in their tracks. Both teams are still in this game, but EXPS definitely sustained more damage.
Yeah, we'll have to see if they can get that revive point off as well, because we don't really know the position for some of these other teams. Like, is anyone guarding a revival point? Is anyone guarding those vending machines? Because that is a strat for some of these teams. Guard these resources and hope that a wounded team trying to get some kind of buyback comes in, free elimination.
Hey, map!
Oh, we do have the map. Nice. We summoned the map. So it's going to be a bit of a southern...
missed you, map.
We definitely missed that map. It is going to be a southern circle. Now, we are not looking at a guaranteed river circle, but there is a possibility for this round.
Why would you say that? Don't ever say that. Okay, Furious Gaming furiously running away, and EXPS full revival, all thanks to Dew. He got away, brought his team members right back in, and a decent amount of time to pick up that loot before they get in towards circle number 3. At the 8-minute mark, 10 more teams surviving, and I'm just not liking the position God of Wolf is holding on to at this point.
The Furious Gaming actually backs off, and I think there's no reason for them to contest that. Circle is very well in their favor.
Yeah.
In fact, it's GOW who are pretty exposed out in the open, and they're by the shoreline, so it's not the best spot to be in.
Yeah, they're just hiding on the side of a hill. They're not really covered at all, so someone would be able to catch them out if they just run along the edge of that circle. But we are seeing a couple teams here. It's going to be C-Triple-G going up against PokerStar. Now, I hope the Indonesians are ready for this, because we've seen how aggressive C-Triple-G can be.
C-Triple-G trying to keep them outside of the circle. Gatekeeping the boys from Boko. Rat, a sliver of health left on him. One more backing them up from afar. And On Fire, literally on fire. As he drops 2 players from the side of Poco. Fires MKS and Liam left on the squad. Liam tops his health right back up, but the circle is going to be tagging away at his HP little by little. And C-Triple-G, basically the winners of that skirmish, succeeding in their venture to keep PokerStar outside the circle.
My god, the amount of explosives sent towards Liam's way is not really good. Wow, Peter actually the one to find the knock. So secures the 8th point for C-Triple-G.
Beautiful stuff. 8 eliminations, that's just insane if you're C-Triple-G. And it looks like EXPS Dew is back in the game as well, moving towards the circle from outside as he rotated pretty far away to play that revival point. PE Sports, Hao Ang all alone. And
He might be the one to actually spot God of Wolf here. So
oh my.
I'm more concerned about
FG, yeah.
FG, I'm more concerned about FG. They did use the binoculars. I believe they spotted out at least 2 members of GOW. But if they don't know where FG is, I think PE Esports might just end up receiving the shorter end of the stick.
Yeah, God of Wolf, all they need to do is just circle around towards the left, and that's going to pincer PE Sports in a very, very bad location. But it is going to be dependent on whether or not Furious Gaming does push out of the defensive compound, which seems to be...
They're gonna do it, I think.
Yep,
They're
very
doing it
likely.
now.
Here comes Furious Gaming from up top. They've got that high ground advantage. Poncho once again, grenade, but the ice grenade response comes through from the players of PE Esports.
Oh,
and
Loud
outside
Esports.
the circle, they back
no.
away. This is such a risky one. And Loud coming in to make some noise as well.
Yeah, I like the movements of PE Sports. You peel backwards, you now push uphill to try and get FG out of the way because GOW is no longer a primary threat. With that being said, not only Loud has joined the fight, but Expand also wants a piece of this. This is gonna get messy. Expand about to run straight into Loud, who are busy dealing with FG, but Expand has drawn their attention, and the Brazilians are not gonna let this go quietly into the night. Lost 21, already pushing forward with the rush, and just finds the hit of too fast before he could even react.
Due from afar, Peter down on the ground. C-Triple-G getting tortured as well by EXPS. Too fast pick right back up, and it looks like Expand retreating. They do not want to play this fight against these players from the side of Loud, and they just want to hunt down the circle. PE Sports going to keep Loud outside the circle as Expand gets away.
And PE ends up losing one of their members, and in fact, Expand ends up running into Furious Gaming, so PE and Expand are not having the best time. Don't Cry really wants Noda, but he heals up just in time before the knock even comes true. The nade finally does get him down though. Will Loud come and save their teammates? That's going to be the main question. There is a buy point nearby, and Noda, he's in a really rough spot. Don't Cry makes sure he stays down, and Loud is out of it.
All Esports needs to do is just keep an eye on this vending machine, and Loud is not going to have a choice at all. They have to rotate with 3 players. But Kawan still finding Cobra as he gets into the circle. Just insane stuff out of Loud.
Insane stuff, Adelaide. These teams are also on a timer because this circle is rapidly moving inwards, and these teams, if they don't get out of this soon, they're going to take critical amounts of damage. It's going to blow through all of their health kits as well. They need to keep their macro up as well. You know, looking for these elims, it can get greedy if you overcommit for these eliminations.
Argentinians trying to pull a quick one over the Brazilian squad.
Oh, Pocket.
I mean, Volley is the only guy left for his team, and he's not making it easy for everyone else. Bad one save, but Volley still somehow stays in the round. But Expand, unfortunately, I believe did lose another member. Wiped out GOW in 9th place. C-Triple-G with 2 members left, 12 eliminations.
PE Esports out of the picture as well. So we are slowly running out of teams, gentlemen. And we know
The
that
blue.
C-Triple-G are the elimination leaders for the lobby last time we saw. So they are going to be prime targets going into this circle as it does get smaller and smaller. We are seeing RRQ here with a gatekeep, and so far being very successful as they are in... Nobody is contesting RRQ. They are free to go in. There's actually no one here. This might be the game for RRQ to take.
A lot of teams actually perished to the blue, right? I believe at least 3 squads. PE, Lao, now FG. I think Expand also took a lot of damage from the blue zone as well. C-Triple-G might be the next on the elimination list because they only have 2 members left to deal with WASK. On fire, he's actually behind. Peter takes care of that 1v1 against Genius. Still getting rushed at by YNS, but it feels like WASK, they're going to slow down. Who do you commit onto if you are WASK? Peter seems to be the right choice. Mr. Ali supporting fire from afar.
Trying to rip through those blue walls as well, AJ.
Absolutely, but then they are going to be able to stack a beautiful maze right ahead of them as Expand gets taken out in the 5th spot.
Peter!
Still hanging on for their dear life. Peter down on the ground, on fire as well. RRQ finally hopping on into the battle. Peter survives the onslaught, tops his health right back up, and he hangs on.
This surely is an RRQ round, right? Peter now has to take some damage from the blue zone. And of course in that watchtower, he's not going to survive for long. Abe finding the 7th point for his team. And now only 6 players left, but RRQ is the only team with the whole squad alive. Lee from PocoStar on one side, Mr. Ali on the other, and RRQ Kazu feels the confidence. They feel that this is their round to take, and I don't think anyone can take it away from them.
I don't think so at all. As WASK, they will just basically both teams, they've submit themselves to that circle. RRQ, they get probably the most unexpected booyahs for the tournament. They had... Look,
what?
Wait. You and I both predicted RRQ.
What did I tell you?
Wait. Okay, here's the thing. I've been supporting RRQ since yesterday, all right? So you don't speak to a true RRQ fan like that, all right?
What did I tell you about RRQ? Not the most aggressive team, but definitely opportunist. And that was exactly what got them this booyah, right? They never really took any head-on fights. They were just waiting to vulture these points.
You know what?
They found the right circle.
I really think one of the biggest factors this game was the fact that these teams played so aggressive outside the zone, right? We saw so many teams committing for these eliminations outside the zone. These fights took way too long, and by the time they tried to actually come back into the zone, they had to fully commit to the fights, otherwise they just got nothing.
As I watched all of those battles break down outside the circle, I started laughing because I kept remembering something that my wife has been telling me recently.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, she says, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. So they were all outside of the circle. I don't know what they were fighting for because there should have been a truce instantly at that point of time. Obviously not run into the circle, not run into the safe zone together, but split up, run in different directions, just get to a safer zone first. Because there's no way in hell you're going to be able to survive the outer circle at that point of time in the matchup where it's just going to hurt way too much. Plus a couple of bullets your way, you're going to turn into a loot box, right? So
yeah.
I mean, it's easy for us to say that when there's no like $300,000 on the line for us in particular.
PE Esports had actually a fantastic opportunity to peel away. They didn't need to take that fight against Loud. Obviously, they didn't know who was there in front of them, but you know, the circle was moving way too far away from them. They obviously have the mini-map on their side. So it's just that one lapse in judgment. And by the time they all started to make a move to look for that safer zone, they were just so far away and they just had to keep wasting all of these medkits on the way.
I mean, to be fair, we can kind of understand the position that they're in as well, right? Because in most cases, if you turn your back to a fight, then there's a chance you're just going to be shot in the back. And,
that is true.
You know, that's a free elim for the enemy team. So sometimes I think these teams are looking at the pros and cons and maybe they're thinking, all right, there's no way we can safely get into the circle. Let's commit to the fight, even though we're going to lose this. If we can get those eliminations, that's compensation for what we would have inevitably lost anyway.
I think if Lau didn't show up to the party, then there's a good chance that either Furious Gaming or PE gets out of it. But to make things worse, Expand also showed up, and PE, I agree with AJ, they had a chance to walk away, but they saw Lau exposed and they were like, let's go back in, and they lost that fight against Lau. And Lau was like, well, we won that fight, let's try and get more. And then Furious Gaming was like, no, you're not running away. Argentina is here to play. And then they started shooting at Lau, and then Expand was like, you know what, we also want to play. And then they all went down to the blue zone.
Because initially it was God of Wolf who was holding on to the beach side, and we saw Furious Gaming there. PE Esports just landed smack dab in the middle of them. That was like the biggest warning sign, and you know that you make one wrong move, you're going to be toast, right? And they waited that out only to make that unfortunate mistake. I was actually gunning for them to pick up the booyah on perk, so it was a little unfortunate for the team. But you know, I'm all right. I'm all right.
GOW was in the worst spot. If you think about it, they were in the worst spot, and they probably got the most out of it. When I say the most, they didn't get wiped out.
I was going to ask, what did they get?
Yeah, it does sort of depend on the circumstances. But it looks like we do have an interview, so let's head on over and see what the players have to say after getting their booyah.
Absolutely unpredictable because every team has given their all absolute best in every game. But now we have the GOAT with us from RQ Kazu. Welcome and congratulations. How do you feel? Your nickname is the GOAT, and how do you prepare yourself in coming into this competition?
Ya belajar dari kesalahan lah.
Learning from the our league.
And you got first booyah and only one booyah so far. But your team still had a lot of points. And is this your team strategy?
Ini Oke. Ini booyah pertama, tapi tim lu banyak banget dapat poin. Apakah ini strategi?
Jelas, soalnya kan apa ya? Ya pokoknya strategi lah.
It's clear. This is our strategy.
This is your strategy, and you continue doing this so far.
Bakal dilanjutin lagi nggak strategi kayak begini?
Mungkin.
Maybe.
Yeah. So we'll see. We cannot say so much, but we'll see. Who is the best player of your team in game 2 and why?
Ya, siapa pemain terbaik di game kedua tadi menurut lo?
Legalot.
Our captain Legalot.
Legalot is the best player.
Yeah.
What about yourself? How do you like your performance so far?
Gimana kalau lu sendiri ngelihat performa tadi buat lu sendiri?
Ya bagus lah bisa booyah.
It's good because the result is Buya. Yeah.
Lastly, can you send some message to your fan who are rooting for you guys?
Ada pesan buat penonton di Indonesia yang dukung tim RRQ.
Ya selalu dukung aja tim RRQ maupun di bawah maupun di atas.
Yes, support us to win this competition.
Give it up for RQ Karsu for winning the second game and good luck on the next game. We'll be back right next after the next game. Back to you, Shoutcaster.
Interesting answers from that interview, but I love how they're just like, yeah, this is our strat.
I actually like the message to his fans, right? You keep supporting RQ, whether we're at the top, whether we're at the bottom.
They're barely at the bottom.
Look, okay, that was for me, right? That was for me. You guys, nah, that was for me.
I mean, when I predicted them, they went up on top. So it's all about the timing, Danny.
Sure.
It's the timing.
I'm a neutral man.
I've been with the team through the ups, the downs, and some more downs, okay?
If you just say RRQ for every single game, they're eventually going to win one.
Oh, try that.
Okay, that doesn't happen for everybody. AJ, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Are you talking about Thorad?
I have something I wanted to say about it, but I feel like the fans would not be happy.
You're going to pick on Hot Shot, right?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to pick on Expand.
Oh, no, don't do it.
Oh, jeez. All right, so we're going to take a look at our MVP for the round. It's going to be Razor for RRQ, who managed to pick up 4 eliminations. They did some decent damage, but yeah, pretty passive game for RRQ. We didn't really see them in too many of those thick fights. They were more along the edge. I kind of feel like, as well in that game, they kind of got lucky with where they were in the circles, because they dodged the majority of the fights.
You must be really good to look lucky in a situation like that. I mean, some people, they kind of luck out. They just head on into situations where they don't know what to expect. Sometimes they get lucky, sometimes they're not lucky. It's a 50-50. I think a team like RRQ, they make their own luck. So it was great positioning.
What if the strat is, okay, I'm trying to think like RRQ here. What if the strat is, because we constantly see them scouting around, right? Sending players from the get-go in all different directions.
Correct.
What if they're trying to scout out where everybody is? Once their players get eliminated because they get spotted, they all respawn where the least number of teams are, so that they dodge the majority of those engagements.
I quote my wife Shalini, play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Wow.
It's not the smartest of ideas. It's the World Series. Right?
Okay.
And they've been punished for that.
There's this scientific graph that goes, the more you mess around, the more you find out.
But this is not really messing around. This is like experimentation. But who knows? All right, never mind. So we do have the...
I mean, they are number 1 at the end of the day.
Yes, sure. Although the big question is for how long at this point. But I mean, this was a good round for RRQ. They've been waiting for that booyah. They finally got it. And I'm kind of wondering as well, are they a team that's going to function off of momentum? Because there are some teams that just suddenly play much better if they have some kind of momentum. For example, by getting a booyah or getting a massive kill streak in a round.
I think for RQ Kazu, they are always... They're a stoic team. Doesn't matter if they have a underwhelming round or a great round, they're always going to be there. I still stand by my stance when I say that this team is not the most aggressive team. They're opportunists.
I do agree.
We saw how they win their rounds and how they got top placements, but they're never really up there. So I think overall, it might also come down to the experience in the team, right? Like Legolov has been a relic for a long time. Maybe that's how he's leads his team.
We'll continue the conversation in a little bit. A quick short break. We'll be right back.
Hello, survivors, and welcome back to the Free Fire World Series 2023, Week 1, Day 2 of the knockout stage with Groups B versus C. We've concluded our first 2 games of the day, and we've still got 4 more to go. My name is Danielle, and of course joining me is the wonderful Mustachio, AJ, and Husky. We've just witnessed 2 games, and we've also started to establish the leaders of these 2 groups, right? Now, we do have Alpine coming up next. This is a map that some teams have specialized in. We have a little bit of faith in some of these teams that could potentially get their first booyahs or even make a very good performance for themselves. But let's talk about Alpine. Who are some of the big dogs for this map?
It's really hard to say from this particular scenario, right? Because it is the World Series. But individually, from their own individual regions, you're looking at teams like Expand as well as FFWS Esports who have the capability to rise up to the occasion. You're also looking at teams like CGGG who did really, really well yesterday.
Yeah, I think CGGG yesterday had a slightly slow start, but towards the very end, they started ramping up, right?
Yeah.
Finished 4th after day 1, and even today, they put up pretty decent performances. Like the aggression from CGGG is still there.
Yeah.
But I think when we look at Alpine, we have to look back at Expand from MCPS. This was their signature map. When Alpine was first released, Expand was the best team on that map domestically. No team could top them. And if we want to look for a map in which they can show up big, I think Alpine has to be it.
But if it doesn't end up being Alpine, I mean, like if you've been following Expand and you're a fan of this team, you'd have to worry for this team moving forward, because if you can't find a map to put your feet on and say like, okay, this is where we know we can get points, how are you going to guarantee top 12, right? Because you're competing with 3 groups of teams. It's not just these 2 groups.
Yeah. Husky,
we share the same...
Copy my answers, man.
No, I didn't.
So who did the homework
just sitting
first?
down right beside me.
I would say I think Danny, early on you asked like are certain teams momentum based, right? You asked about RRQ, and for me they are not a momentum based team. Expand is a momentum based team. This is a team where if they get going, they get going, but if they trip over a pebble, that's where things start going
They just
downhill.
limp the rest of the way.
The problem here is, you know, I can say that, but only as far as MCPS is concerned. On the world stage at FFSI, it wasn't a team that was depending on momentum at all. There were many mistakes that were made at FFSI, which should not have been made by the team. But I also do understand that there has been a lot of changes within the strategy of the squad as well. I think the coach is a little bit more well accustomed to the players. Too Fast is really taking the helm as the captain of the squad. And I wouldn't really I mean, I did predict Expand to do well on Alpine, but I'm not expecting them to do well on Alpine alone. I don't want another God of Wolf.
Yeah.
I don't want someone to just perform on that
Perform
one
on
map,
one map, yes.
and then not show up the rest of the day at all, right? It's not going to be good for the region. They are the only representatives. But what they do have to do is take good notes from some of the teams that have been able to dominate, and those are teams like RRQ as well as CGGG. Not making too much noise, not getting super aggressive, but doing just enough to get into that final circle, because you're going to get decent average points to keep you at the top of the leaderboard and into the finals.
Which is very fair to the team because they, again, right, X-Roy is out of the squad, he's now with Axis, with a bunch of, it's like a retirement home for a lot of domestic pro players. But they did bring in Crime MKS, right, another Indonesian player, so now you have 2 Indonesians in the team, the coach and Crime himself, so communication becomes a bit easier. So I do agree with AJ, that change is going to definitely put Expand in a better spot, and this is also their debut as this version of the roster.
And I think Crime kind of fits right in, not just because he's a great player, but because of his attitude. I think X-Roy, the guy that left the team, he was a little bit too aggressive in some of these engagements that always would Expand in hot soup because of uncoordinated pushes. But ever since Crime MKS has joined the team, they do have a very good balance of defense and offense when the shot is called for them to go all out. You usually do see them walk away with a couple of engagements. I think the first 2 games ended up pretty miserable for the squad. The second one, of course, much better than the first, but not up to the team's own expectations for sure. On their best map, on the map that they're really comfortable on, this is where we will see Expand truly tested.
Well, we've got our players loaded in and we are ready to fly into Alpine for our third game of the day. Are we going to be able to pick up some booyahs for these teams that are really lacking those points, or is it just going to continue to go into the pockets of those Goliaths? We do have our eyes peeled for teams such as Loud, for EXPS, these two titans of this group. Now, we have seen EXPS being taken down earlier on, so they are not invincible. They are definitely mortal, but I think it does come down to whether or not certain things align for some of these teams to take down these very strong teams. But we are going to fly in from the east to the west, gentlemen, and the high tier loot zone is going to be in the bottom right corner, so very far out.
And I think, you know, going back to the point of, you know, coming bursting out of the gates, right? You don't really want to pull a Loud or EXPS where you do so well, like phenomenally well on your first game and then clunk out in your second one, right? As opposed to RRQ that's always average enough to be number one on the overall leaderboard. I think consistency is going to be key here that everybody has to look out for. But Loud is, of course, looking to be super loud at the start of the match once again.
Yeah, WAG going to be on the receiving end of that. On the other end, FG also fighting against RRQ Kazu, and actually first blood drawn by Bad. Razor instantly gets bought back.
Classic RRQ.
Classic RRQ thing. But I would say that, you know, teams like Lao and EXPS, you could kind of see some resemblance if you mirror them with local teams such as Farang, right? It's also a team that is prone to overheat by a lot, kind of a big magnitude, and we saw that in Lao, we saw that in EXPS. In this case, I think Lao definitely a lot more reserved in how they want to take these early fights.
Oh, WG though, they are so aggressive. They're actually running into Loud, but Loud are actually the ones going to be sent reeling, so they're trying to back up, getting themselves into a better position. Is this going to possibly be a mistake if WAG continues to push?
I think my biggest question is going to be, you know, whether or not Loud can sustain their aggression without Lost 21. The guy is barely hanging on now. About 30% of his HP still intact. AS18 takes Peter out of the equation. Poco in an aggressive fight against CGGG as WAG faces off against Loud. But it looks like the aggression's not out just yet. A face-to-face combat, and Kawan was able to turn things around all thanks to the MAC-10.
Man, they were, WAG are pushing into the unknown. I mean, Danny asked a question about Lao, right? I feel like WAG pushing like that aggressively is actually detrimental because Lao was clearly prepared for that. If you look at the map itself, they were grouping together. They knew exactly which window to block over the glue walls, and WAG fell for the trap. So very good decision making from Lao. For Poco Stars 18 Deer, well, doesn't get shot away. WAG completely wiped off the round by Loud.
A bit too keen.
And it looks like RRQ once again has gone in here for the split drop, because we can see their individual players being picked off of the map by teams that are not even close to each other. So once again, RRQ, I really don't understand what's up with this.
You probably didn't see this, but I was keeping track. RRQ this game did a really interesting thing. They actually went for a 1-1-2 split.
A 1-1-2, okay. Better than a 1-1-1-1 split, I guess.
Yes. So they did safety in some numbers.
This strat only got popularized because of the revival points and the buy points, right? Back then, there are very less teams who do that unless you are very, very confident. And even then, it's a big risk. GOW actually losing Izagot very early on. This is the second round in a row where Izagot didn't really get to play much in the early game.
And I don't like this plan from RRQ, because what they're doing now is just safe plays to maintain that #1 spot with just average rounds. And I'm not expecting them to go super Hulk on everyone and annihilate them one after the other, but you still do have to stick together to a certain degree. YNS spots one, M1014, beautiful spray. Zzox really low on that HP, and Peter, even though he does have the Trogon in hand, just not enough range to annihilate anyone with those explosives just yet.
Ooh. Genius almost getting taken down super low, and he's pretty far from the team as well. So if he does drop here, his team is going to have to go back to pick him up. But it looks like they're going to leave him at that point. So they're going to sacrifice a player on their team. I'm not sure if this is the call that they wanted.
This could be a crunch from WASK, right? And that is under the assumption that COSQ doesn't get back into the fight on time. So WASK has to speed it up a little bit. Zzox, unfortunately, the Sonya keeping him just barely standing still, gets dropped by Peter. Not the best case scenario. Mr. Ali got a back off. YNS finding Peter. That is one, and on fire. He is going to be in the fight. The A124 already used one more also supporting him, and YNS caught in a 1 versus 3. He has to be given away. As on fire even goes shopping mid-fight, bringing Peter back. So CGGG, they are just gaining.
C-Triple-G is going to win the title of most revivals within one lobby at this point.
They're farming eliminations, AJ.
They most definitely are, and they're standing right beside the vending machine. If things do go south, we've got the money to buy you back on fire. Down on the ground, Ali. Close quarters combat with that Woodpecker, but he is going to get sprayed down to the ground by Peter. Beautiful, fantastic backstab. And once again, another buyback for the squad. I mean, that vending machine, if you break into it at this point in time, you're going to be a millionaire.
I just want to quickly point out that Mr. Ali had every opportunity to run away, but decided to run back into the fight to buy Genius back and sacrifice himself. So he's a noble man.
Noble man. Sometimes it pays to be generous, but in that case, sometimes it doesn't pay to be generous.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
Right, so
Like
we do.
This is why they tell you put on the mask for yourself first before you help anybody
others,
else.
yes.
Oh, never mind. No, they're all back. Genius pays it forward.
Genius like, thank you, bro.
You should have the cave diver's mentality. Let your partner drown if he can't save himself. Or if he starts dragging you
Who
down,
are
you
these
let him
cave
drown.
divers and why are they so mean?
No, because if your partner starts dragging you down, you both drown.
Yes.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I think that's something that Expand won't do this time round. It's going to be an opportunity for a little bit of revenge. Loud21 backing away. Crime MKS cluster from that Alvaro. No tags just yet. Lost 21. Flanks from the right-hand side. Now they've got the Arsenal to play around with as well. A couple of those players with the shotgun in hand. They want to engage in the CQC, and Lost 21 is playing right into it as Cobra gets sprayed down into the ground. Thanks to Noda.
I mean, he's way too fast. Lost 21 is making these quick moves that a lot of players are not ready to react to it. Now Expand, they gotta play with only 3 members too fast, also getting backstab. Cow 1 on the flank. And they are just making quick work out of Expand. Crime MKS, the new player in the team, the last man standing for the squad. And it looks pretty doom and gloom. Expand completely dismantled by Loud.
They made that just look effortless going into that fight. Expand just didn't have an opportunity, unfortunately. And I think this is also showcases some of the issues Expand has. We will talk about them a little bit later on, though, because we have RRQ trying to defend themselves as they are at a numbers disadvantage here with only 2 players on their roster. Oh, they do get a knock, though, onto Pacha. So RRQ, they might actually have a chance to potentially win this, but it's really going to come down to their footwork and positioning.
Yeah, great Tatsuya burst. Uses the second one as well, though. Here comes the players. 3 players surrounding him all at the same time. 165 HP left. One ice grenade is going to take away at his HP. And the guy in a tight little corner can't do much. Now needs to wait for Bat to make a mistake here. Razor barely has held on himself. One more glue ball to just hang on, and Bat gets shut down. Razor, beautiful trip mine play, and still survives the engagement. Grenade, a double glue ball melted by Razor, but can he hang on?
Oh man, this guy is surviving for longer than he should, and manages to heal back up as well. Now with an ice grenade, just to make sure that he zones out Nico. He's icing this fight so well. Razor with the outplay and both of them! An absolute menace of RRQ.
What a play, Razor! Survives the onslaught in a 1v3. Hangs on for his dear life. Fantastic stuff, but Soydella, just that, in the nick of time to save Furious Gaming from getting furiously wiped out. But RRQ Kazu not out of the equation just yet. Duts really low on that HP. No more medkit on him. Unfortunate. I guess this is the end of RRQ in this lobby.
I mean, Razor did everything in his power, and it was still not enough. What a heartbreak for RRQ.
You just have those moments sometimes. So close, but it really comes down to just getting those eliminations that can really turn things around. But
see, if they didn't get revived multiple times, they would have enough medkits. That's what I mean.
So, poor AJ. This man is torn.
No, but, you know, I think it's all planned. I think they're doing this on purpose.
Yeah, well, I mean,
like
they said it's their strat, right? Like, this is the playstyle that they're comfortable with up until this point.
Absolutely.
So, it's for them, right? It's been consistent, it's worked. But I think it would make sense at some point for this team to sort of improve upon this. so that it's just not so resource intensive. Because your team is also constantly getting revived, you're coming back in with nothing. You can't macro with this style of play.
But I think that's exactly what they're trying to force, right? They're trying to force just clean gunfights out there without the use of a lot of those utilities. They're trying to see if or not they can match up against some of these bigger teams when it comes to the engagements, and they seem to be on the winning side most of the time.
So
and
they handicap themselves to train for the grand final so that
one
when they
hand
are
tied
fully
behind their back.
equipped...
This is like a Rock Lee
Next
moment, right?
It is a Rock
It's
Lee
like a
moment,
Rock Lee moment where you put on the weights, and then in the grand finals you take them
They
off.
take them off, yep.
He just opened gate number 200.
I'm pretty sure by gate 8 you're already dead. So it's called the gate of death, right? There's no gate 200.
You never know, man.
Don't ruin my
That's
childhood.
revival in Free Fire.
Don't ruin my childhood.
That's revival in Free Fire, okay?
Oh, all right. So we do have the next circle locked in here. It's going to be on Snowfall, and we do only have one team that's really in position to sort of stick around and potentially gatekeep. So everyone is going to have to make their way towards that northwestern side of the map. We do have a little bit of action because we still have 19 remaining at 32 players on this map. So there's not going to be a lot of room for everyone to work with, but who's going to run into who? Who's going to be gatekeeping who? I think that's the question we're going to have to look at here.
I mean, Lao actually issued a challenge, a kill contract onto Izagod. So you can see GOW, they were actually running towards Lao on the map just now. So that would be an interesting fight to check in. In fact, I think Lao are definitely prepared for this. I'm more worried for GOW though, because it seems like they really are keen on taking Lao on this offer, and you can look at how Lao is positioned. One with GOW might find a straggler.
GOW, Mr. Ali. If I was Ali right now, I would just not breathe, man. I would hold my breath.
I think they saw him.
Nah.
Through the doors of the arsenal, he actually dipped by, but he looks like a tiny ant, so there's a good chance they didn't see him. But I
Poco
saw him.
versus C-Triple-G. C-Triple-G has an opportunity here to pick up their 14th elimination at the expense of the Indonesian squad of Poco. The XPS, on the other hand, aggressive Bermuda game, and we haven't really seen much of that aggression ever since. Cosq, a couple of more shots, and EXPS has to barricade themselves in. No more eliminations available.
Osaka might be able to take advantage of this. In fact, Esteban finds one more, and Cosq gets tagged by 18 Deer as well. So C-Triple-G ends up in a rougher spot than they wanted to. Even after repositioning, one more just got back up, goes back down again.
Gets him.
Actually gets sniped through that gap and the glue wall.
18 Deer rushing in for the fight already. He's got the Tatsuya burst on him. Raz on the right-hand side flank. On fire with the Drogon. Let's see if or not they can get away with this one as 18 Deer hangs back as backup. EXPS outside of the circle. This is not where you want to be against PE Esports. PE Esports, don't you dare do that again.
Oh, Dew actually going to be flying into this circle here. Pretty favorable position as well. So he's actually going to... Oh, he misses the compound. So he falls down, but he has shown his position. So players know roughly where he's going to be. 5 MKS, though, unfortunately going to be knocked. And I don't think his team is in position to pick him up, though. So Poco is going to have to play with 3 players for the remainder of the game.
Could be a breath of relief for C-Triple-G, right? They are completely disconnected from the fight, so they do not need to be a part of this. In fact, it's
Casper's
PE,
down.
Poco, and also EXPS. Casper, unfortunately, doesn't get to move away far enough, so finally gets taken care of by Hong Ang. PE Esports making quick work of EXPS and also Poco Stars. 18 Deer couldn't survive that. EXPS also has 3 members left to work with.
Oh, I think Poco made a bit of a mistake actually trying to contest for that compound because they've just given away a multitude of eliminations to EXPS.
M82B in the hands of Dew. 2 eliminations already. Has got a good defensive compound to work around with as well. But PE Esports once again hanging around outside the circle. They cannot afford this.
2
but
revives.
the sacrifice is well worth it.
Another revive as well. So we just saw 3 players getting revived, 2 on the side of PE Esports. Now, we're going to take a look at Osaka here because this team has struggled today. They haven't been able to really make a mark. So this might be the time for Osaka to assert their dominance, get their points in, and secure their place in that top 12. But it's going to be a matter of whether they can survive and whether they can take down the giant in this lobby. EXPS is still around. We do have 1 player left on the side of Poco. There are still 7 teams, and they're running out of space here. So if you're Osaka, you're going to have to start gatekeeping now or pray that you survive.
I think they missed the window because Lao has just shown up, right? They were watching this whole commotion go down. In fact, Osaka are getting backstabbed by Loud. That's 9 eliminations for this Brazilian team.
Here's a God's marker. It will end in 10 seconds, therefore Loud does not get that execution, but they will have that one final straggler from Osaka. And Dew puts the final bullet in the coffin. It is not Loud, but EXPS instead. Poco, on the other hand, it looks like that's going to be the end of the player as C-Triple-G finds them hiding out in the open. GOW, one elimination in hand thus far, and 1 foot inside of this next safe zone.
Man, this urban warfare is going to get super messy. C-Triple-G with 12 elims, Loud with 9, both with full squads left alive alongside GOW. But Loud is ready to storm the compound. C-Triple-G, they have almost the entire squad right in front of Lau, and Lau is slowly clearing it out.
Great ice nades from Kawan. Blue wall melts as well, but nobody's behind there. Cosq backs away EXPS. This is going to be a big fight. Loud. They don't expect it, and a cluster tags up 3 players all at the same time. They respond though. They do have the Drogon. Grenades launched straight up towards EXPS. None of them finding those stacks, but this is going to be a very tricky situation because this wall is going to stop them from getting in, and the players on the side of Loud, they've already barricaded themselves outside.
They gotta somehow get to Mexico. Mexico is clearing out the entire corner of the perimeter. If they can get to Mexico, they have a good a chunk of space to work with, and they can even start focusing on GOW because EXPS cannot reach them.
I'm not sure though. I think GOW are in a pretty good spot to sort of play passively if they want to, because everyone else is actually participating in the gunfights. GOW, because they are so quiet, teams don't know where they are, so they could come in for a potential backstab here. We'll see if they decide to play patiently though, because players, they are starting to drop now, and we are coming down to our final circle, gentlemen. 5 teams remaining.
Loud still hanging on for their dear lives. EXPS, they haven't gotten taken out of this equation just yet. They've called a truce for the time being. GOW in the best position, like you said, Danley. They're going to be avoiding all of these initial engagements. C-Triple-G trying to take out Furious Gaming, but Furious Gaming furiously putting up a strong fight. Bat down on the ground. Peter still alive and kicking. The Drogon is going to find its mark, and C-Triple-G, it seems like one final player is going to just try to play the survival game for the squad.
I think Lau really made a mistake. They should have really went for GOW, because them backtracking towards EXPS costed them 2 members. GOW, they're now trying to push into C-Triple-G. Soydilla actually ends up getting taken down by Peter. Peter staying still and still going. Volley finally downs him. C-Triple-G is out. 4 teams remain, and GOW, they might not have a lot of elims, but they are in prime position to take the round.
EXPS looking for yet another booyah. Loud, on the other hand, 11 eliminations in hand with Mexico and Noda. Just playing it very cheeky. The circle moving away from them. And finally, the engagement against GOW, but stopped by their own misplaced glue wall. They have to back away, and they leave EXPS to do the dirty work.
The circle is closing in, gentlemen. They're running out of space. It's time to go. And God of Wolf, if it's time to go, you got to do it now, because you are going to run out of space. Oh gosh, are they potentially stuck here?
How long can they hold on? Depends on what EXPS wants to do, right? If they can somehow get rid of EXPS, there's a good chance, but Noda is already gone. And actually, that glue wall blocked GOW out of that entrance.
That's their glue wall.
It's their own glue wall. They just pulled the exact same mistake as Loud. Now GOW.
Okay,
they're boosting themselves.
They had to. They needed to boost themselves. 2 players still outside. They can't get in. They're down.
No, they'll go down.
Wolf are down.
There's no way EXPS might be able to walk away with this. Mexico is still alive. Him and Caramel was going to do it. Oh, Caramel at the end to get the booyah. How did that even happen? GOW.
Very smart play by EXPS. And, you know, 2 teams making this unfortunate mistake. Initially, it was Loud. I mean, some great plays with the glue wall, some unfortunate mistakes with the decision making. Like you said, Husky, they should have just engaged with GOW, take their prime position outside, because they did have a natural defensive fort with that huge boulder out in the open. No other teams were engaging them for that spot. And EXPS already had that inner compound, right? So going in there for the attack obviously wasn't the best of ideas, and they made the decision way too late. So the blue started kind of pressuring them. GOW set up some fantastic glue walls defensively, which just turned out to wipe themselves out, which was the most unfortunate part of this whole lobby.
I'll talk about it more when we get to that moment, because I think Lau had a lapse of judgment. GOW just straight up decided they don't want to win the round. So
I'm not sure if it was
that one
simple case.
That one is straight up on them, because whoever dropped that glue wall, that guy needs to be set down.
No, it was a good start, but you know, they just didn't play the timing well at all. And clearly there was this miscommunication because they wanted to run towards the left. And I kind of think we saw a fantastic glue wall from Loud because they were going for that flank, and then out of nowhere comes this glue wall that stops them just in the nick of time at the corner of that wall.
Oh yeah.
Circle kind of pressures GOW, so they can't go in there for the full committal. They go back towards the right-hand side, and then they remember, wait a minute, we set up 2 glue walls here earlier, and we didn't take this one down yet.
I think you just break it at that point. I think instead of boosting, you just break it.
Correct, exactly, yeah. Instead of that, they wanted to boost each other over the wall, which, like,
I think that was a moment
happens sometimes.
I think that's a moment of panic, right?
Yes,
like
it was,
if you were calm and if you actually managed to think things through,
Yeah.
they would have actually just broken that glue wall. But they panicked, they tried to go for the boost, and you know what happens with adrenaline, sometimes, you know, you get a little bit shaky, things just don't go your way. They managed to boost 2 players over, but 2 wasn't enough.
This is that point.
This one, I think Lau had 2 decisions.
Yeah.
1, you commit to GOW.
Yeah.
2, you commit to EXPS.
Yeah.
You have to pick your poison and just full commit to it.
Yeah.
Because if you take EXPS out, you have a compound. If you take GOW, you get to play from the outside towards the compound. But in the end, they double back, right? This is where things started to get really dicey. They were forced to kind of backtrack, and they ended up getting sniped by Du, who was on the roof.
Yeah.
And they were forced to play defensively.
And of course, there was just no way of them knowing exactly who was out there on the outside perimeter. But it doesn't really matter because when you want to take your bets out there, they did initially have Mexico trying to snipe at the players of GOW, and he should have been able to relay the information that you are not going to anticipate more than 1 squad out there. I mean, looking at the map, looking at the circle, you can't really house 2 teams behind that boulder. And they had enough glue walls to kind of make it on that long rotation, kind of barricade themselves from all of the shots from inside the compound. And thanks to the walls from that compound in itself, you're not really going to get taken out so easily. So it was a little unfortunate for Loud. It could have been an easy booyah.
Props to both Lau and EXPS. At least they held on for that long, right?
Yes.
Like, it could have been much more disastrous. I want to listen into what EXPS has to do for that second booyah.
In exceptional play from every teams, but we get only 1 winner, and he is here with me, same face at the first booyah, Monkey Dew. I know this name from the comment sections. So how it feels? You got your second booyah of the day, and how many booyah you think you can collect?
รู้สึกยังไงที่ได้บูย่าอีกครั้งหนึ่งแล้วก็คิดว่าใน3เกมที่เหลือจะได้บูย่ากี่ครั้งคะ
รู้สึกดีใจครับแล้วก็อยากได้บูย่าอีกสักรอบหนึ่งครับ
Only 1? Only 1 booyah เหรอ? Oh my god, I mean 3 games left, you only want one more.
เหลืออีกตั้ง3เกมอยากได้แค่ครั้งเดียวเหรอ
ใช่ครับใช่เกมเดียวพอแล้ว
Yes, I want just 1 more game.
Oh my god, so humble. He's so humble. But who is your biggest enemy in Group B and Group C and why?
ใครเป็นคู่ปรับที่สุดในกรุ๊ป B กับกรุ๊ป C เพราะอะไร
บุรีรัมย์กับ CG ครับเพราะว่า2ทีมนี้ตึงครับรู้มือกันอยู่
My biggest enemy are Buriram United Esports and CGGG.
Because?
เพราะว่า
CG กับบุรีรัมย์ก็ตึงสุดแล้วครับ
Because they are the strongest team.
Toughest team to beat, right? So, but are you sure you can beat them and be the winner and the champion of this Free Fire World Series 2023?
มั่นใจไหมว่าจะเอาชนะ2ทีมนั้นได้แล้วก็กลายเป็นแชมป์ของ Free Fire World Series
มั่นใจ 50% ครับ
I have 50% confident.
Oh, I hope your confidence is better and more among other games, right? And lastly, can you send your fans some message and fans who are waiting and cheering for you in the comment sections?
ฝากข้อความถึงแฟนๆทั้งบ้านหน่อยค่ะ
จับตาทีมผมดีๆนะครับ
Keep an eye on my team.
Oh my god, I like the warning. Congratulations, and I hope to see you 1 more or 2 more games in the next round. Thank you so much. And this is Thailand team EXP Esports. Thank you so much and good luck. Back to you, Shoutcaster.
That's right. Keep your eyes peeled on EXPS because this is a Goliath of a team so far in groupings B versus C.
Yeah.
And this is going to push them further up that leaderboard as well because this is their first day competing. Yeah. They are gathering a massive number of points, although maybe the second game of the day wasn't so great. But performance-wise, they have been pretty consistent minus that 1 game.
2 booyahs already. That's already the same amount of booyahs as Magic Squad, as GOW, as Buriram United. And they still had like, what, 3 more rounds to go.
Don't say GOW, man. I think you're hurting their souls a little bit more. They were so close, yet so far, all thanks to this glue wall.
That was on them.
unfortunately.
But I mean, C Triple G, again, despite them not getting the booyah, you can see like the eliminate leaders, right? Peter and On Fire combined already has 10 eliminations under their belt. But of course, MVP for this match has to be due again.
6 eliminations, M82B in hand, Dimitri as well to heal himself up. And Sonia, sometimes they do get away, but all thanks to the fact that you does carry along the Trogon as well. So if Sonia does get activated, that Trogon does get him out of those sticky situations.
Yeah, so let's take a look at the team composition here for EXPS for this round. Do we have like a definitive idea on how EXPS plays? Because we've seen this team be very aggressive. They're very good at CQC, but is there a defining trait about this team that just makes them so strong?
Did I just see a double A124?
Yes, so I just wanted to bring that out, right? The team comp, normally you'll be looking at like Tatsuya, Dimitri's, Skylar, but these guys, 2 A124, 1 Dimitri, and I think the last one was like what?
Steffi.
Was a Steffi, right?
Yeah. And we haven't seen her in such a long time.
Oh yes, it's a defensive lineup, but because they play so aggressively, they are taking up space with the double A124, and they're also setting up shop to prevent getting bombarded because they have a Steffi with them, and Dimitri just allows you to auto pick up, right? So that somehow, for a team like EXPS, you would not expect it to run such a defensive setup, and yet it works for them.
Very complementary.
Because it's very complementary to how they do it, which is pretty crazy.
We do have the overall standings here on the screen, ladies and gentlemen. Now, RRQ, they do manage to maintain their position on top of the leaderboard, tied with C Triple G, 119 apiece. So, unfortunately for RRQ, their position is not safe. They do have a competitor up there, but they're not in a safe position either because this is their second day of play. For teams in Group C, this is only their first day. They've got another play day coming up tomorrow. So for Group B teams, they're going to have to try and end the day on a high note if they want to maintain their positions. We do have Du on the screen here for our MVP leader. Now, AJ, you do give me a bit of a face here. Are you agreeing? Are you not agreeing with Du?
I mean, I definitely agree, right?
You're fine?
We've got
All
3 more games to go. They've already got 2 booyahs. This guy has already got 2 MVP titles, and like you saw, the rest of them, even including Jonah, only has 1 title thus far. They've got all the capability to break multiple records in the day.
And they are only 3 points away from tying up with GOW. And this is just their 3rd round.
Don't talk about GOW.
I'm just putting it out there.
No, not yet.
Just towards the end of yesterday,
too
I
early.
said, if GOW, they just barely scratched the 50-point mark, right? They got 53. And across this past 3 rounds, they only got 10 points out of it.
Don't talk about GOW.
I just gotta put it out there. We need a benchmark. Someone has to take the fall.
Someone has to take the fall.
Who else am I going to talk about? Hotshot? They're not playing today.
That's tomorrow.
Don't talk about Hotshot.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, we have 3 more to go, right? Next up, we're going to Kalahari, our favorite maps. I think we can all agree on that. I am excited to see how this is going to turn out because first 3 maps we've seen teams like C Triple G, Lao, EXPS, just endless aggression. But on Kalahari, it enables that tenfold because now you got grappling hooks to maneuver yourself around the map.
It's a very large map as well, so you're going to have a lot of... You got a lot of room to work with, but the question is whether or not these teams decide to occupy the center of the map, because that seems to be a pretty popular strat for some of these teams, right? Occupy the center, scatter out the perimeters, maybe get a couple of elims, but you've got the high ground to work with, so you actually have a lot of vision to work with for Kalahari. We're going to show our predictions on the screen right now, and not much has changed for some of us, but we have Expand popping in for AJ and Husky. Now, guys, explain.
Grant,
because
we did not change our predictions from the previous match because we were talking so much.
Because
so
I have a good reason. Because it's actually Too Fast's birthday today.
It is.
The birthday buff.
The birthday buff. You say the birthday buff, but man, so far it hasn't shown just yet. I mean, the captain.
I didn't say it.
The captain of Expand is celebrating his birthday, but obviously, I think cake has to wait for a little bit, right?
See, Husky, the timing is always important. I was waiting to announce that it's his birthday once they won something. So, I mean,
I'm a realist.
When you're losing...
I'm a realist.
They have 3 more games, man. You gotta give them...
Realist.
They got wiped by Lao twice. And what else?
Oh my goodness.
I mean, the Brazilians are pretty annoyingly good.
All right, so
it's gonna happen a lot.
So, I mean, Expand, Mom, please don't kill me. I'm just doing my job. Okay?
I'm just doing my job.
I still love the boys.
What is your job? Sabotaging the team. All right, I understand.
I still love the boys, right? Heart to heart, I still love them.
Oh, goodness. Well, we are leading the players into our fourth game, Kalahari.
I was going to say, we're still waiting to see if or not WASK can shoot, or are they only good at reviving their team members. I have never seen any other team as aggressive as WASK on the revival gameplay. Like, just in the previous matchup alone, I think they revived like 10 or 11 times.
Is that something that you'd want to be concerned about if you're getting a high revival count for your team, if you're not getting something out of those revivals?
I think the conversion is what you're looking
Because
at.
what's happening, right, it's like if you're getting, okay, it's great that you're getting the revives off, but you know what you're doing at the same time? You're giving eliminations to the competition.
Yeah, I mean, after all those revivals, they only took away 2 placement points at Alpine, which means they didn't really get very far after getting...
If anything, they're pushing themselves towards the bottom 6.
I mean, granted, you do have to play the game of revival, but...
I mean, it would be great if they could play the game.
AJ. We've come a long way. Back then, you can't even revive the team.
Yeah.
Yes, it
I
was
think
much
if you are
different.
WASK at this point of time, you want to just look for a spot like so far out the edges of the map where you know for sure nobody's going to go there. And you want to drop right there because you cannot risk early engagements anymore. And we are looking right at them. All right, observers. Let's see exactly where WASK with Mr. Ali and squad. If they can hop on over towards the corner of the map, I'll be super happy.
It's less defined on Kalahari. Perhaps you would go Hampton, but because Shrines is the high tier loot zone, it becomes slightly more iffy.
Yeah.
The flight path will help them out a little bit, right? It's more
That's
skewed towards the south side.
All right, so what are we looking at when it comes to occupation? So it looks like Loud is going to be taking up the center of the map. We saw God of Wolf as well, not too far away. And looks like Osaka actually going to be jumping in here with RRQ. Now, this could be terrible for Osaka if they don't actually win this engagement because so far, they haven't managed to secure their position on that leaderboard yet.
This is a terrible flight path for a map like Kalahari. Multiple early engagements going to be forced out of this flight path. And you are right, Osaka, they really need to walk away with this victory here. PE Sports, WASK, you asked for it, you're going to get it, I guess. And UK takes Zezox right out of the equation as RRQ still tries to find a good position here, slowly repositioning themselves towards the edge of this compound.
It's hard to get out of a 4v4 when you hot drop someone at base. It's just such a, it's a labyrinth, right? You kind of feel like you have to fight. You don't know where your opponents are. Esteban gets pinned up by 3 guys from the side of RQ.
Down again.
He's going to go get knocked down, excuse me. Chris also takes a lot of damage. Now Abe starts rushing in, and now the floodgates have been opened. Justin trying to cover his team from the second floor is getting shot at by Duz, losing health rapidly, and I think Osaka have ran out of firepower.
Uh-oh, this might be problematic if Osaka can't recover somehow. Legolas actually getting dropped in this engagement as well. But Osaka, it's a complete wipe. They don't even get an elimination for themselves. So they end the round with 0 points. Osaka, this has just been a horrible day for this team. And I kind of have to wonder, what are you going to have to try to fix moving forward? Because Osaka desperately needs to get those points on that leaderboard.
There are some things you can fix. There are some things that you can only pray for.
Oh man, I believe Nuke just stole one of the knocks from Lau.
C-Triple-G trying to poke their noses into this battle as well by the looks of things. So Lau's going to be in a lot of trouble. PE Sports going in here for the push. And Furious Gaming right behind them as well. Lost 21 still alive and kicking as he knocks Don't Cry out of the equation. Kawan taken out already. Lost 21 finally down. But we saw earlier on Noda as well as Mexico. They can hold their own. Noda going in for the revival, and nobody's close enough to shut him down and out of the equation. Therefore, a full team revival for Loud.
Right, I mean, Lost 21 still got 2 elims before going down, right? So this man, he is still putting in the work. Definitely worth it. And because of that, he just left PE stranded to deal with C-Triple-G and a potential FG.
Unless they can manage to get one of their players away. I do believe they've gone for the split. So if one gets caught, hopefully the other is able to get out of there. So PE not out of this game as of yet, but they do need to play a little bit more defensively here if they are looking to get that recovery. RRQ, though, going to be heading in towards the center of the map, going to be running under Loud here. And it
I think they saw him.
Yeah, I think they may have, or they may have heard him. They're going to hook up, and they will see him. And that should almost be a knock. Almost finishing him off, actually going down. Oh no, bit of a misplay there coming out from Abe.
Almost broke his ankles on the way down, lost like what, 70% of his health just because of that drop. So I guess Lost 21 gets to I want to say he gets to play for a bit longer, but in fact, he just full commit to him with the second grappling. He still gets brought back, so not a big deal. But Expand will be up against FG.
This should be an equal fight here for Expand, but they are backing away as Too
Too
Fast
Fast is
once
down.
again goes down. Cobra,
Oh.
first grenade does not find the connection. Second one doesn't as well, but the third has managed to take away 40% of his HP. His bat tops himself right back up. It's going to be Soy Della. Beautiful boost by Nico in a 1v2. Nico still gets it, but traded out by Cobra.
Man, thankfully, that Sonya reset could have ended everything for Expand, so Cobra gets to bring his captain back up again, and even find some time to heal himself back up. Axel playing a very important role at command post on this roof. As long as they don't get him away from that location, he gets to provide a lot of support for his team, and that info is getting relayed to Cobra. He's rushing forward for more.
Oh, look at this though. Furious Gaming now horribly injured. They've got one player down. They can't quite get the pickup here, and it looks like it's going to be maybe a full-on retreat. They're considering a Pacha getting caught here. Furious Gaming getting picked off one by Expand. And this might be the recovery that Expand has been looking for so far.
Too early to say that.
You got to give him some hope.
And my boy Cobra.
Good start.
They've already completed the first step to recovery. 3 eliminations at the start of the round. They cripple FG. Oh, Cowan. Still somehow hanging on by a thread, but this is definitely a slower round for Lau. One more was able to get rid of PE Sports. So 10 teams remain, and Abe from behind finds lost 21 again. This man has went down twice.
PE Sports, their coach just needs to ask them to slow down a tad bit. It's not like it's a bad squad. They know how to engage
not slowing down.
Multiple engagements, multiple elimination points, but they keep getting taken out of the equation too early.
I have to say that we are looking at a pretty different style coming in from RRQ this round. They are sticking together. They are moving as a unit, grabbing these little pickoffs. So it is showing quite a bit of success for this team, but the matter for this team is whether or not this is going to stick for them, or if they may potentially just get picked off in the middle of the round. We'll have to wait and see first, because we do need to consider where that circle is going to be, because they're occupying the center of the map. If the circle is going to continue staying in the center, that would be ideal for a team such as RRQ. But if they have to move, they will have to wrestle with a couple other teams to actually get into the safety of the new zone. But yeah, so far the game is looking really good here for the Indonesian squad.
Refinery is one of the few locations that having a 2-2 split is actually a pretty good idea. It's a huge location to cover, and you have high ground advantage. That's one of the innate advantages that it gives you. See Triple G finding Kawan. He is all alone. Wants to find some revival point. Actually, there was one in front of them, but just could not get to it in time.
Refinery is just that one property where all of these property agents are selling you that they've got, you know, accessibility, multiple highways to get you into the city, out to the outskirts, everywhere.
Like a balcony.
And yeah, you've got the balcony view, you know, high ground advantage, zip lines, you know, just pointing out to each and every single direction. So RRQ, they are going to have a good time choosing exactly where they want to go, depending on the circle. But C-Triple-G, on the other hand, they smell some blood. And it's blood of a wolf. Gosq down on the ground, but the pickup's not going to be an issue for one more. Beautiful glue wall. And in the meantime, the players of God of Wolf, they try to reposition defensively.
Can he get rid of On Fire on that roof, though? Because he's eating up a lot of space that belongs to GW.
Did they grapple up?
They're going to reposition Peter on the other end, trying to play that long-range fire Gosq with a big cluster on top of the roof, but that one just detonated a bit too early, so not chipping away at the help of GOW like they wanted, but you can see Peter with the grappling instantly goes for the flank, joined by On Fire, and Peter, he's gonna get isolated. A very messy fight, but C-Triple-G, they are hanging on pretty well.
I don't know how RRQ is doing it, but they have got their eye out for Loud, and they continuously shut down their players one after the other. GOW, on the other hand, Iso got down and out of the equation. This just opens up the battle for C-Triple-G. This battle just got so much more easier, but with the loss of Peter, though, this has to be a recovery that C-Triple-G focuses on. One more, really low on that HP. Volley! That backstab, great for the side of On Fire. Peter, the only one down on the ground, and C-Triple-G should be able to make their way out of this battle against God of Wolf.
Yeah, On Fire just straight up carrying his team right now. GOW only down to just Di Huang, one Soul Survivor up against On Fire. And On Fire, true to his name, finds 6 eliminations. And that's 10 points in total for CGGG.
Elimination leaders as well for the lobby. So CGGG looking to be in a fantastic spot this game if they can continue on with their current streak. Of course, they do want to try and pick up Peter. So I think at that point, we're just going to have to see what happens for CGGG. But in the meantime, though, we are starting to see a semblance of roughly where this circle is going to be. I'm really excited to see where this, to see the map view, because I want to know where everybody is, what the saturation is going to look like when we get into that next circle.
The only ones capable of competing for that #1 spot against RRQ is CGGG, and they're doing a fine job at that, currently leading the eliminations by 3.
All right, we've got the top-down view, and look at that. So far, it's sort of center, but it could absolutely move over to the southern side of the map if it wants to, which is going to force RRQ out of their position. But we're seeing a pretty big saturation of teams towards the bottom section of that circle.
How did he get that close combat SVD shot, man? Insane stuff.
Lao was looking to bring Lost back by capturing a revival point, but Mexico got taken out halfway by EXPS, who were heading in that direction.
Look at the players of Lao. They're all just being picked off back to back to back. They just can't get a break this game.
Unfortunately, because they keep reviving. Obviously, they want to survive long enough, but the players just can't seem to catch a good breath here. The moment they drop back in, they just get spotted out, instant shutdown, barely any of those utilities on them to really protect themselves. So Expand as well as EXPS gaining from the departure of 2 Loud players. WSK once again on their revival gameplay with a single elimination in hand, playing around outside the circle.
I have to say, we were saying that whether or not WASK was going to continue playing the revive game, I think we're looking at a bit of a more stable team this round. They're not giving away too many eliminations.
There's not enough seats for
Let
Genius.
me get in there. I want to sit on the roof.
Not enough seats for him.
They could probably maybe just stuff him underneath. Just hang on to the engine, man. It's all good.
Oh, poor man. They are in the blue zone though, so they can't take too long.
Oh,
too
it
much
is
time.
just south of Refinery. All right, so teams are going to have to move towards the bottom of that circle, and RRQ is going to be basically flushed out of Refinery as well.
Loud, they're so broke because of all of those multiple revivals. They have just been buying back their players. Now they don't have any more of those coins to get that 2 revival back into the game. So they need to look for good engagements, loot up their boxes, and then try and find a vending machine for themselves. So positioning is going to be key here if Loud wants to get into that final circle.
Bad news for them is there's none nearby. There's no vending machine. There's no revival point. They have
They have to cross so far across the map.
And the team in front of them is EXPS.
Yeah, that's pretty tough.
That is very tough.
Hey, you never know. I mean, miracles are still a thing in the game of Free Fire. But look at Furious Gaming flying straight into a very dangerous situation here. Pocho in the middle of 4 different teams. The guy's all alone.
UAV should be able to find Lao and Expand now. Under pressure, the Exo is going to reposition. CGGG really wants to hit. Exo hides behind that glue wall, but CGGG then unrelenting, committing onto the rooftop. This push is going to be deadly from behind. Exo, watch out! What a glue wall just to protect himself in time. On Fire just does not want to let them breathe.
Smart play by On Fire here. He circles around, but the glue walls are absolutely solid from the side of Expand. Now they need to be really careful here. A couple of grenades can put them down. 6 feet under, but that's from afar. One more down, Peter down, and all of a sudden CGGG being tortured by the players from across the battlefield. It's RRQ.
Man, our Indonesian friends helping out Expand. Maybe they saw Crime MKS and they were like, wait, that's our buddy on the other side. We can't let him go down like that. Lao did get wiped by EXPS, but of course the business is not done just yet for CGGG. They will back off and live to fight another day. In fact, Koskio will just bring the whole squad back.
Oh my goodness. All right, look at that circle. These teams are playing on the high ground so far, but I'm wondering if anyone is going to try and go for a bit of a sneaky play and play towards the hill here. We'll have to see. But so far, we are looking at 8 teams remaining in this round. We've got 31 players still fighting. And look at that saturation towards the bottom of that circle. There is so little room to play with. And look at this. There's not much natural cover either. So these teams are going to really have to be careful when it comes to their macro. Make sure they have their glue walls. Do not waste it because you are going up against so many teams. If anything, try to make the most of your opponent's glue walls.
It's not going to be the easiest thing to do. WAG Gotta somehow pick their teammates back up, expand.
Oh.
Just as they were saved by
They were looking
RRQ
really
Kazu.
good.
They got wiped by RRQ Kazu. I mean, they were just cooking up their foot a little bit. Let it sit there, let it rest. EXPS with 2 eliminations this game, not the loudest off games, but we'll have to face up against Poco Stars.
Cluster goes wide. Caramel, on the other hand, his cluster finds no connections as well. Can't really be wasting all these lethals pretty early. You want to wait for this, but look at this party breaking down here at the bottom side of this map. Now, whoever's on the opposite side is going to luck out because all of the action is just concentrated towards this part of the circle. Cyrus now from afar. Boko Raz has got the opportunity to tag him up just a tad bit as
there goes Furious Gaming.
is taken out in the 7th spot.
I swear you only get these kind of like final circle fights on the
Oh
world
my
stage.
gosh,
6
look at
teams
that
left.
circle.
You know who is the winner temporarily? It's C-Triple-G, who somehow gets everyone revived and they actually have control of the circle, but they do not have weapons. And that is the disadvantage. On fire, one more. They all started to get to go down. RRQ Kazu, wait, 17 illims.
My boys are doing some work here, gentlemen. RRQ is looking to make Indonesia proud and potentially get their second booyah. But this round, though, we're seeing a lot of teams hugging the outside of the circle just because the center point, it is not safe. There's not too much safe cover to work with, but they are slowly creeping forward along with that along with the safe zone. But I think it's time for these teams to really get into position because there is so little room to work with. RRQ just hiding behind the cliffside, using their natural cover, keeping their glue walls to themselves. But look at that top right section. These teams are trying to get their position in.
Stop down on the ground, RRQ. We were asking who's on the flip side of this circle where there's just no teams there, and it's RRQ. Best position. Razor circles around, steals away the elimination. Stop giving him that 1 point. Fires MKS down on the ground as well as EXPS holds on for their dear lives. But it's only Caramel now to hold the team together.
I mean, RRQ, they have taken so much space in this final circle. Caramel, he's trying to rush for it, but there's no chance.
But
look
hang
at
on.
RRQ, look at where they are.
Not just RRQ, though. Take a look at Poco Stars. They are playing with the high ground. They have vision of all these teams from top down. If they want to try and go for the sniping game, this is the time to do it.
No, but they gotta drop down, right? And that's gonna allow them to get taken out by RRQ Kazu. Look at 20 eliminations. These guys are on a record-breaking mission right now, but it's not over just yet. Legalov, the captain, cashes in on one more. Dus gets the nade. Abe also finds one. Poco Stars already out. It's WASK against RRQ Kazu.
Razor's
They
down.
will find Razor. Z's also starting off on a good note, but Dus with the Trogon to wipe them out. 25 illims and a booyah. That is a record if I've ever seen one in the history of competitive Free Fire. 37 points in one round.
30 freaking 7 points. RRQ Kazu. They felt the heat as C-Triple-G caught up with them, tied up with them for that #1 spot with 119 points. C-Triple-G got taken out at the 7th spot and they just went all the way to make sure that catching up was going to be close to impossible. What a run for RRQ.
This looked like such a comfortable run for the team as well because they weren't pressured in the early game, and in fact they were the ones to play very aggressively. We did see a couple of differences in this match as well, right? We know that Loud for the majority of the game today being a massive factor in being a main aggressor in the games. They have actually shut down RRQ in past games as well, but the tables have turned where Loud got consistently punished with the revives. They were so poor. They were in a terrible position coming into the late game, and they just got eliminated as if it wasn't Loud.
It felt really comfortable for them on Kalahari, right? This feels like a map that they probably are not that well versed in compared to the rest of the map. And it's very evident when you see how they drop. They split out one by one. And like you guys pointed out, they just kept reviving, and they got timing on certain instances as well. Mexico wanted a full revive, gets caught up by EXPS, and then Lost 21 gets revived and instantly gets dropped after that. It's just a rough game for Loud.
Yeah, this is the point that we were making early on as well as to when RRQ really wants to go all out, when they stick together, when they play the map as it's supposed to be played without really splitting up in a 1-1-2 or a 1-1-1-1 split, which always plays against them. We saw this time round. They take Refinery, they go for the 2-2 split. They were playing their positions really well, rotating together as a squad. And after all of that refining, after all of that sharpening of skills, by splitting up in the earlier games, This is now the true capability of RRQ on perfect display. And when they get together, they break records. I, like Husky said, have never seen a record like this at the World Series.
Well, they've set a record now and they've set some expectations for us. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to hit that same expectation again. It's going to depend on, you know, whether
this woman, she
Hey!
supports them
Hey!
so much.
Yes.
And then when they finally break
Yes.
records, she's like, but we cannot expect them to keep this up. What's wrong with you?
What's with the Asian attitude? You're not even.
Hey, wait, Australians are Asians.
Are they?
They
Well,
are.
I'm a criminal, so
I mean, RQ Kazu came back.
She gives them love, and then when they get something done well,
Well,
she's like,
it's Asian love.
It's not
pretty
good
sure
enough.
you can't keep it up.
Wow, A star,
A minus.
not enough.
37 points.
I want 40, you know.
They didn't break the record. They wrecked every single record that has been set thus far. They've picked up their second booyah. Nobody has gotten 3 booyahs thus far. And I think if they continue this, this is going to be their day. But of course, they have to get it done because tomorrow they don't get to play.
Yes.
Yeah, and they have 2 returning players from last year, right? Legalov and Razor, they played
Yes.
on the world stage last year. They finished 7th place as a squad. This year they bring in Abe. I think Abe also really started to show his fangs. Dudes as well. These 2 men are putting the weight. And I think this round really shows that RQ Kazu are a force to be reckoned with.
Well, let's have a look and see what RRQ have to say after getting their booyah.
Another game and another victory for RRQ Kazu, and he's right here with me. Congratulations for another booyah. Do you satisfied with your team performance so far?
Ya, jadi buyah lagi. Gimana performa hari ini? Puas nggak?
I feel confident. I believe my team. My team believe me.
Yes. Do you satisfied with your performance so far since you been on hiatus because of your health, right? And then he came back and decided to compete in this Free Fire World Series. So how do you prepare yourself mentally and physically?
Oke, gimana? Puas nggak sih sama hari ini? Terus kan juga lu beberapa kali kan tahun kemarin juga main dan sekarang juga main. Preparasinya itu seperti apa?
We practice in scrim, in training.
So lots of practice.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why you're confident, right?
Yeah.
And you had 25 elimination in Game 4. This is the record of Free Fire World Series 2023. Are you confident to have the winner title for your team?
Ya, jadi 25 kill, rekor baru nih di FFWS 2023. Percaya diri nggak sih juara di turnamen season ini?
Of course, we believe to champion in season.
Yes. And who is your best team play in your team?
Siapa pemain yang terbaik lah tadi di game keempat tadi menurut lo dan kenapa?
I think our captain and we for player.
Your captain is the best player, right? Right, okay. So how do you feel about the atmosphere of Free Fire World Series 2023?
Ya gimana perasaannya ngelihat atmosfer di Free Fire World Series 2023 menurut lo?
I think is good, is fantastic.
And will I see you again in the next game? Definitely, right? Oh, I like the confidence. So I hope I see you again in the next game. Thank you so much. And back to you, Shoutcaster.
He's my favorite boy now.
Oozing confidence. I'm going to say that. Oozing confidence.
The fact that he understood the question in his native language and he
It answers in
responds
English.
in English. That is the best interaction I've seen.
That translator felt like how I used to feel when I used to follow my sister. She wanted to go out on a date and I just used to stand there with the popcorn and
So you're the wingman.
not know what to do.
You're the wingman.
Kinda.
Light bulb.
Light bulb, yeah. Tiang lampu, they say.
That's lamppost.
Lamppost, yeah,
Oh,
that's,
okay,
that's
okay.
what you are, the lamppost. I'm sorry, translator, I love you, bro. Love it.
All right, let's wrap up our that last game because we are, I believe, going to give the players a very short break. Not just the players.
goodness.
We'll have a short break and the viewers will too. But yeah, let's wrap things up very quickly. We just had Razor on the stage just now answering those interviews. But I mean, elimination leader. He had 9 elims that round.
Sorry,
RRQ in general.
Elimination leaders, because the top 3 were all from RRQ.
I just want to tell you that
and then they put dudes here.
the top 3 The top 3 elimination leaders for RRQ had a combined 24 eliminations. Legolas only got 1.
But they respect Legolas.
But they respect Legolas.
So it doesn't matter.
I mean, it's all about the shot caller, right? It doesn't really matter if your in-game leader can't, because clearly from even his character active and passive skill setup, he's more of a backup player for the squad. It's all about the decision making, and clearly he's been making the right ones.
And he ran the chrono. I have not seen this well in a long time.
I didn't even see it out there on the battlefield, so it could just be a mistake. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's not. I'd like to believe
You never know. You never know.
Maybe it's a Clyde.
I just want to know, how did Duds get the MVP though? Because that was so razor. He had 9 eliminations and I believe 8 assists.
Well, we're gonna leave that for now, because all that matters is that RRQ, they end the round with 37 points total, combined with the Booyah as well as the elimination points. This is gonna push them way up the leaderboard. AJ, you said before, right?
Yeah. Sorry, did I see 37 and 17?
37.
And what did Triple G get? 17?
17, yes. 20-point difference.
They got a 20-point lead here.
They won 2 rounds in 1.
They won literally 2 rounds in 1. Look at that. 156 to 136. Triple G thought they had a chance. I mean, well, they still do have a chance. We do have a couple of maps left in here, Nextera and a random one. But
Kalahari.
the way RRQ is going, they've broken 1 record already. They're looking for another record. They are looking for the most number of booyahs thus far held by a team.
Well, I mean, they are on their last legs now. Everyone in Group B is on their last legs, because this is their last 2 games coming up. So if you want to get those points, you really have to pull your finger out for these last 2 games. Now, I think this is the time where they have to talk to their coaches. They say, all right, guys, what's going to give us the best chances to lock in as many points as possible so that we can end on a high? They only have 5 minutes to speak to their coaches. We've got plenty of time to sort of discuss things, but I know everyone's looking forward to their break. Gentlemen, I mean, okay, we'll talk about who needs help soon, because I think we also need to look. We need to look at some of these teams. They're struggling. We might be struggling, but we'll talk about this after the break. Hello, survivors, and welcome back to the Free Fire World Series 2023 for Week 1, Day number 2. We're down to our final 2 games for teams in Group B versus C, and the final 2 games for teams in Group B, because they've played their games yesterday, and these are now their last 2 games before they lock in their points for this week. My name is Danielle, and of course joining me is the wonderful, the mustachio, AJ and Husky. Gentlemen, I think we've spoken a lot about the teams that have had their highs today. Let's talk about some of the teams that are having a bit of a low day, that are behind in terms of points. Before that though, we're going to go on to Next Terra as our final confirmed map before we end the day with the random map.
For teams who have lows, Expand, Osaka, WASK is not having a good day at all. GOW, the Vietnamese boys, they are also having a rough time today.
Osaka has had 11 points from 4 matches played. They're having a pretty rough one. But you know, in the grand scheme of things, we need to acknowledge that some of the teams that are doing great are doing fantastically well. I mean, 10 games so far in the Free Fire World Series, and we only have 5 teams with booyahs, each and every single one of them with 2 each.
And we've got our predictions on the screen as well. And look at this, the support for RRQ, all 3 across the board, but we still have a little bit of loud support here as well. Although they've kind of fumbled the ball in that previous round, right? Kalahari, I think this is their weakest map today, but are we going to be expecting a comeback from Loud going into Next Terra? Because I honestly, I think that Kalahari round was an isolated case for the team. It's just not something we should be seeing every round.
I think it feels like that way. In fact, even when you look at EXPS, they got 2 booyahs, right? We only have 2 teams who got booyahs today. EXPS got 2, RQ Kazu got 2. In fact, the only difference between these 2 teams is that they're 1 point apart, right? RQ Kazu has 76 points so far, EXPS has 75. Loud, on the other hand, are actually pretty distant from them. I think they have more than 20 points in terms of differences. So I think Kalahari round really hurt them a little bit, but I have faith they will recover in Next Era.
And of course, EXPS is looking to put up a strong fight for the last 2 matches. They've got 6 more games to play tomorrow, and it is definitely going to be a little bit more difficult to farm those points when you've got teams like Magic as well as Buriram playing in your lobby as well. So today is going to be the day where you really take it hard on some of these bottom dwellers and take the most of your opportunity, get into that final circle and just absolutely annihilate them. Pretty much do exactly what RRQ just did, right? I mean, what, 25 eliminations in one lobby? How often do you see that happening?
Pretty
but it's
rare.
only going to happen when you've got this combination going, because a lot of the teams within Group C and some of them in Group B, they just really can't hang with teams like RRQ.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you're going to be able to hang with some of the teams tomorrow, because I think tomorrow is even worse, right? Like, you've got to reap what you sow today, and you've only got 2 more rounds to do it. So we've got our players, all of our teams loaded into their pods. We are ready to go to Next Terra, our 5th map of the day. Who is going to get this booyah? Is it going to be our leaderboard teams, or is it going to be a brand new team?
I think for RQ, ideally you want to be at least 80 points ahead of BRU by the end of the day, because BRU, they got 105 yesterday. RQ Kazu got 80, so that's a 25-point difference. They made out with that massive round just now on Kalahari, but if they can extend the lead even more in this final 2 rounds, I think RQ Kazu would be fine not playing tomorrow and just prepping for the second half of the knockout stage.
I mean, if they can get at a very least 40 points from the next 2 games, which is an average of 20 each round,
they can make it.
They can absolutely make it, right? But, you know, rounds like what we just saw, 25 eliminations plus the booyah, those are the rarity. And I think we are very well accustomed with a average form of RRQ, and then once in a way we get a explosive run from them, right? So I'm expecting average runs once again, perhaps 15 points each, 30. That's going to be a very safe place to end. But I mean, if they want to get another booyah, who's going to stop them?
Yeah, just if you can get the booyah, just take the booyah. Don't give that away.
I think EXPS is going to try. Like Husky said, they are definitely one of the forerunners. They're definitely the best team out of Group C. So I'm pretty sure they want to have a fantastic head start against Group A tomorrow. So they're going to have to pick up as many as they can from the last 2 games.
All right, so it looks like our flight path has been determined. We're going to be starting in from the top right-hand corner and flying down to the bottom right-hand corner. Gentlemen, are we okay with this flight path? It's dead center.
More than okay.
So,
more than okay.
All right, dead center. Our high tier loot zone is going to be on museum.
Intellect Center again.
Isn't this the same as yesterday?
Yes, it is.
GOW and FG, they really, really like each other. Not in a good way, though.
Yes, not in a good way.
The two Gs.
Taking a look at these teams, though, Loud is sticking together somewhat. They are a little bit spread. So, again, pulling off this spreading strat, trying to work on their macro. But yeah, this Intellect Center battle could be pretty big for our two teams here because an early elimination just means they're just going to get nothing this round.
It's more imperative for Furious Gaming to win that fight if they choose to take it because they are behind GOW in terms of points. WAG, on the other hand, actually found 2 members of Pogo Star, so they will get 2 points to start it off. 18 there actually is also bleeding out. There is a revival point for Liam, but he feels that maybe there's going to be someone nearby, so he doesn't have the courage to go and capture it. Dion, on the other hand, he's going to be taken out very quickly. The double revolver from Nico to do the job, but Isa God finds the trade onto Pocho, and Isa God might be gunned down. The Sonya actually keeping him standing. With 1 AP, finds the reset with the knock, but it's not enough.
Lee Kwang, final player, but has to take on 3 players on the side of Furious Gaming. And it seems like he's just going to try to play the game of revival for himself. Backs away from this engagement. No more medkits on him. But he does have a little bit of time. Loud, on the other hand, against WASK, and not the full squad here at these Grab Labs area. So this is an opportunity for another revival run.
Yeah, this is the issue with Loud. I mean, you were hating on RRQ playing for this split strat, but now it's Loud to be consistently going for this split, and it's just not working for them.
I mean,
they still salvaged it, though.
I don't know why you would want to do it, but clearly it's not going to work for anyone. This is the World Series at the end of the day. But Loud, I think, is just trying to find a little bit of a better footing at the start of these games. I guess their confidence is just a little shaken up after that first game.
Osaka just narrowly missing RRQ, or RRQ is letting them go, whatever it is. Although now they're actually going to run into a bit of a gunfight here. Osaka, we said this before, this team has gotten very little done today.
11 points, 4 games.
Points.
And to run into RRQ, this just makes it even worse. They either need to win this engagement or they're going to just
run.
Massive casualties.
I think you just run. 2.7 points a game is...
They got to go.
I think you just run if you're Osaka. Just get out of there. Chris is buying decent time, and Pajaro might have to give himself up, but the rest of the team, you can just get out of there as far as possible. And for context, yesterday the team that got the least point is WASK with 25 points. So Osaka needs 14 to match up to that. And it's not even a good thing, you know, if you match up to it. But it's even worse if you can't do it.
Yeah, especially with this grouping as well, because you add Group A to the equation, then it's like, oh, I don't know where those points are coming from, because it's normally going to go to Magic Squad and Buriram.
Esports Hawang picked right back up and dropped right back down. Can't really do much in a situation like this. PE Esports going up against EXPS. Not the best of teams to be meeting very early on. Casper. Stop, my goodness. Look at that. Top up of his HP. Caramel bot right back in as well. Nero's going to be in a lot of trouble. Mini Uzi in the hands of Dew. And the Executioner just trying to bob and weave through the windows. Can't really find a spot just yet. As Stop backs him up as well. And now in a 1v2. Nice. Drogon in hand. Narrow, just quick tags in and out.
Yes, Narrow doing the good job. He's isolating these ones. The shot through the glue wall. What was that?
My goodness.
That is an illegal shot from Dew. What did he just do with that?
M82B, baby, you gotta love it.
Oh no, Don't Cry might run into into Osaka here. He's all alone as well.
Did they not see him? Okay, they do.
Yeah, they should have seen him now. So this might just be the end for PE Sports. And yes, in 12th place, unfortunately, the first team eliminated on Nextera.
It's a good
very,
play.
very unfortunate. I mean, that shot from Dew really, really just crushed PE Sports. Could have been something for them. Loud, still staying afloat, but RQ Kazu, okay. This could be a drive-by moment for Abe.
Oh, he stopped.
Oh man, the ward drop just in time. What? Wow, Mexico just stands his ground and finds the shot. Abe, he wants to get out of it, but there's two members of RQ Kazu just driving straight into Loud and paying the ultimate price.
Okay.
Talk about messing that one up big time.
Mistakes are made, unfortunately. Sometimes that is going to be the case there. So pretty good for Loud though, because they are actually the elimination leaders for the round, sitting on 5 elims for now. So maybe this is the time we actually see Loud really step up to the plate and actually add and close that gap between them and the leaders of the round.
I have a feeling that RQ Kazu thought that, there's no way this guy just stands there, right? Right? And they get a free car, they get a free truck.
Dodges them in respect.
RRQ right back in it.
They're
though.
back. It's
Revival's there. I mean, this is what I was afraid of, that after that massive record-breaking round, they just go back to being passive RRQ. I'm not going to complain as long as they bring out those average rounds in the final 2 matches. They are still going to keep that #1 spot. But can they stay away from Buriram as they do not play tomorrow? On Sunday is where Group A jumps back into the fray.
We could look at a 2v2 here, AJ, and I'm wondering who's actually going to come out on top here. We've got Razor on the low ground. He's got another teammate on the low ground to support him as well. But Loud, their team is coming in. They're going to actually outnumber RRQ. So if RRQ's not going to commit, are they just going to give their lives away again?
I mean, grab life fights are the best. Your glue walls are just an accessory because people just jump over it. So Razor, unfortunately, goes down. He does have the time turner from this chrono, so at least we know that that character is real, but they are all missing their shots, unfortunately. And Dudes has too many problems to deal with, gets traded. And RRQ, unfortunately, just could not get much done. Lau have picked up 4 points from RRQ alone.
Okay, what's happening here? Like, did Loud and RRQ, like, sign a peace treaty and say, okay, I'm going to farm you guys on Kalahari, and then I'll farm you on Nextera? It's a pretty interesting scenario that we're kind of seeing here, because it's not just a case of
they
one
better
round.
hope that is not the truth, because they're going to get disqualified. But I'm pretty sure it's not the case.
Last we saw that it was a 80-point infraction. And that was 2 years ago.
Let's not talk about that one.
And that was 2 years ago. That team is not playing here.
Let's not go there.
Team is
Too
not
fast. Flying up in the air, joining Crime MKS as well. Osaka might be a good opponent to take on, but it doesn't seem like Expand wants to get into a fight this early in the lobby.
Oh, I
see.
see.
Just drive away.
Ooh.
They did lose, I believe, EXO to Osaka, so they decided that, okay, the better decision is just to move. The problem is Osaka spotted them with the binoculars early on, and they are sending out a UAV. And on top of that, Expand are driving straight into Poco Stars.
Right, so this might be the moment for Osaka to finally make their comeback, or at least make their move in this lobby. WASK again. Also another team that actually needs to try and get as many points as possible. They've been towards the bottom of the leaderboard. Maybe it's time for them to shine. Maybe it's just going to come down to Nextera. Although we have the team grouping up.
Xenos has 9 headshots. Could have used a lot more conversion from that, yeah. Look at that.
Oh my goodness.
Sometimes you show me stats and I just don't want to believe them.
Well, we didn't see them, so we can't believe them, can we?
Because you don't see the conversion, right? That's why you're like,
I'm like,
that didn't
are you
happen.
sure he got 9 headshots? Axel, Cobra, not the best of positions to be
he's
holding
behind
on
you.
to.
Oh, he's behind you!
He's under you!
Oh! Can he finish him off, though?
Sonia.
Oh, he gets away!
The Sonia shield, man, didn't check his corners, but yeah, Cobra got his back.
Once
no
again,
one messes with the captain.
Yep. It's not the first time Cobra saving the captain's back, so Too Fast right back in the equation.
Oh, look at him. Oh, I thought he was going to heal him up, but apparently not. There it is.
Get back in here, Captain.
It's like, don't take the blue.
Don't take the blue.
Captain's like, let me go! Osaka, God of Wolf. This is going to be a fair fight if they do get involved in a tussle.
Okay.
So we slowly approaching from the back. WASK. Oh my God, WASK. I do not want to be you right now.
Oh, I do believe we saw Loud at the back taking a little bit of damage, but here we go. Poco Stars flying right over. Yes, they're going to fly right over and into Expand. There's only 2 players on Poco Star here. They do have a third, but he is a little bit far to actually support the team here. So this could be problematic, but we also see RRQ heading in the same vicinity. So both of the Indonesian teams actually trying to get themselves into that inner circle early.
Doesn't look good for RRQ though. Abe brought his whole team back, but the problem is he did it very deep into the blue zone. He will not be with the rest of his team anytime soon. this is a rough spot for RRQ, considering that we are 10 minutes in, we are 5 minutes away from the finals, from the final circle closing in, and we have 11 teams left and 41 players.
This is insane.
Oh, this is a big fight. EXPS cluster from CGGG finds no connection. Caramel on that left flank. Coscu, grenade in hand. It's all about the timing here. Stop, not going to get caught out just yet as bad. Finds Raz from Poco. Once again, EXPS taking that lower ground as they try to back away ever so slowly. CGGG taking this opportunity to move closer towards the ruins. And it is going to be that safe zone gameplay for CGGG.
Oh, that shot could have been lethal if it was a headshot, but they do have nades to start pressuring EXPS. Those glue walls from EXPS is starting to work against them, and look at them, they're really trying to clear out some space. But CGGG, they have a lot of open ground to work with, and they are really making EXPS tank that blue.
So, one more beautiful stuff. Caramel out of the equation, which means the sniper that they have to depend on is going to be Dew. Dew with the opportunity, but just not enough distance between him and CGGG. EXP is going to tank the blue in this situation. And CGGG is going to hold on. WASK, what are you doing? This is not me. You do not come and get involved in this fight.
Not now. We're probably going to look at a fight with them later, but it looks like Osaka is going to be under siege. Yeah. Furious Gaming actually coming in and going to be ruining the party for Osaka. And Porsche actually jumping down. And oh my
Broke
goodness.
his ankles in the process.
This man needs therapy.
Poor dude. Osaka gets to walk out of that for free. Temporarily, you see Furious Gaming on the high ground, you have Expand in front of them, RRQ Kazu still has people around, but Abe has been wiped out by Zzox already, but Cobra right now is really landing in the herd. They're dealing damage to Poco Star, but Loud decides that they're not going to let Expand walk away with that, and they are dealing heavy damage to Expand.
Yep, 2 players now down on the side of Expand, one up on top. Crime MKS pulls it back, beautiful headshot. Kawan taken out of the equation, but 2 players now. Russian Crime MKS, can he get away? Answers no, as Esteban puts him down onto the ground.
Oh, that was a rough one. Crime MKS had to fight off the entire squad of Loud, and again, Loud just caught them by surprise, right? They were just chilling with Poco Stars, and Loud decided to crash the party.
It wasn't all too bad for Expand though. They will take home 7 eliminations. They do have those 7 points plus. Actually though, they won't get any placement points for coming 11. So 7, it's fine. As long as you finish the round with something, that is what you're looking for. But WASK is going to be joining them, unfortunately, in the grave in 10th place. But we still have 9 teams in the game, 22 players. A lot of teams really limited with the number of players that they have, but it's really going to come down to who has the best compound as this circle continues to shrink, because there is not much space and not much room to work with.
Loud has a good compound. If Expand was able to keep Loud at bay, Expand would have had a great place to just bunker in before the next circle. Loud took over that, and that is why you see WAG having a hard time breaking through the defenses of Loud.
RRQ pulled off that full revival earlier on, but I don't think they've got enough loot on their side to take a strong fight, so they gotta keep their heads down at the very least for the time being. GOW, opportunity to backstab CGGG, who have pushed on front already. Dian with a charge buster going up against a sniper as Quidin finds Mexico with the RGS-50. Opportunity to shut them all down. It's gonna be the glue wall melter first, and Quidin traded out by Pizarro out of nowhere.
Man, Osaka really knows how to take advantage of this, and because of that, Mexico gets brought back up. So Loud again have a fighting chance. They're gonna start committing. Loud just drops down into his death. What was that move from Loud?
Saka, Loud out. Dolphin finds the final player, and it's gonna be Caramel in the action as well. Poco eliminated in the 7th spot. 6 more teams left here. Osaka with 8 eliminations. They are on fire for sure.
It's
as Esteban tries to drop his health right back up. Groza in hand, but risky maneuvers. Doesn't get knocked down just yet. Pajaro eliminated by his kill as CGGG finds Esteban from the side of Osaka. CGGG now taking a straight up fight against the team of Osaka, and they should be able to walk out the victors.
Yeah, looking for a recovery round for themselves, and they have been able to get rid of Osaka. And look at the remainders. They're fighting each other on the other end. EXPS gotta deal with CGGG, and ends up getting wiped out. WAG will be the standing team. GW does have that 1 member on the high ground. But this is most likely going to be CGG's round. 3 members of WAG all separated. Peter taking the 1v1 against the Ghost. Cyrus getting sniped from downtown, and Dolphin cannot really help him. Peter wins that fight against the Ghost, and CGGG in prime position to win the whole thing.
CGGG trying to cut down a 21-point lead that their opponents RRQ Kazu have at the top. If they can hit the Booyah as well, it is definitely going to help them do exactly that. But on the hunt, one final player, God of Wolf, Dian. He's survived long enough already. The charge buster isn't going to help him out. And C-Triple-G, they pick up the booyah.
25 points. I think they've done just enough to catch up to RRQ Kazu. So this fight for first is still hot between these two squads.
They've closed the gap, right? That's the most important thing for C-Triple-G because RRQ, that was not the best round for that team, unfortunately. I think they got 9th place. So placement points, not too great for RRQ.
Yeah.
We didn't really see any eliminations as well. This was just a real struggle bus.
If C-Triple-G picks up the final booyah of the day as well, someone's going to think that the Free Fire World Series is scripted. Thus far, every team to pick up a booyah has hit 2 booyahs, except C-Triple-G. This is their very first one.
But at least now we know that Thailand is the first region to have all their teams get at least 1 booyah.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, crazy stuff out of C-Triple-G. You got to talk about the consistency here as well, right? They needed to bank on 2 things. Number 1, RRQ getting taken out early, and number 2, them getting into that final circle and capable enough to pull away the booyah with massive numbers of eliminations, and they tick both of those boxes.
Well, I think this is going to be a wrap as well, gentlemen, because we are down to our random map.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm kind of wondering what the teams are going to be thinking until they actually go into that game. Because we have seen today some teams just do incredible on certain maps, and then on other maps they just completely fall flat. And I guess the question is, who's going to have the advantage moving forward as we figure out what that random map is actually going to be? And again, the discussion is always going to be on the teams that are playing catch-up, right?
Yeah.
So C-Triple-G trying to play catch-up against RRQ, RRQ wanting to extend their lead, and then of course the teams towards the bottom of the bracket trying to get as many points as they can. Group B trying to end on as high as possible. Group C trying to get as many points as they can. But if we were to consider the maps, okay, I know all of us love Kalahari, but who needs this last map to go in their favor the most?
C-Triple-G. They need the next down. Yeah.
I think C-Triple-G or P... Well, I want to say P Esports, but I would pivot towards Furious Gaming. I think either Furious Gaming or Loud. These 2 teams also need the last night, especially for Furious Gaming, because they have not been showing up too much ever since they had this good 1-2 rounds from day 1, right? And afterwards they just fizzle out into nothingness. They ended day 1 with let's see, 41 points. So they ended day 1 in 10th place.
Yes.
And the next round is their last round for the first half, so they really need a good map.
41 points and 20 points came from 1 game. So yeah, the rest of their matches were pretty flat, and it seems to be the exact same scenario today as well. But they're not in a bad position, right? 6th spot overall on the grand scheme of things out of 18 teams isn't a bad spot to be in, but I think you're going to say something.
I have a question, because you guys have the leaderboard sort of open on your screens. Are there any teams in Group B that you think are at risk of getting bottom 6 already?
Bottom 6?
WASK.
WASK?
WASK. Is it just WASK from Group B?
The
yes,
one in
GOW
danger,
as well.
Yeah. Oh, GOW.
But I would
GOW
say that
is still doing slightly better.
Yeah, I agree. I think WASK is in the worst possible spot because they were last yesterday.
All right, well, we do have an interview coming up, so let's see what the players have to say for getting that booyah.
For the final one, and it was on fire like one of the member of this team. CGGG, give it up! Congratulations! But first, it's your first year in Free Fire World Series 2023. How did you feel when you found out that you qualified?
ปีนี้เป็นปีแรกที่เราคัดเข้ามา World Series ได้รู้สึกยังไงบ้างคะ
รู้สึกดีใจมากครับดีใจมากตื่นเต้นมากครับ
I'm very happy and very excited.
And how do you guys prepare yourself before entering these competitions?
เตรียมตัวยังไงกับการแข่งขันครั้งนี้คะ
ก็รู้แผนทุกทีมครับทำกันบ้านให้เยอะที่สุดครับ
We try to learn all teams' strategy to become here.
Thailand teams are very strong. Do you think that you guys can win Free Fire World Series again this year?
คือทีมไทยตอนเนี้ยแกร่งทุกทีมเลย คิดว่าทีมเราจะชนะได้ไหม
เต็มที่ดีกว่าครับ
Let's say that I'm gonna do my best.
Wow, 100% for sure. Do you think that Thailand team strategy are better than other regions and why?
คิดว่าแผนการเล่นของทีมไทยดีกว่ารีเจียนอื่นไหม เพราะอะไร
ดีกว่าเยอะครับ แล้วก็สกิลเพย์ผู้เล่นด้วยครับทักษะผู้เล่นอะไรเงี้ยดีกว่าเยอะมาก
I think we are better than other regions because of our skill play.
Is there any improvement from yesterday play?
รู้สึกว่าแผนการเล่นของวันนี้รู้สึกว่าพัฒนามาจากเมื่อวานไหมคะ
พัฒนามากครับ เราไปย้อนดูของเมื่อวานมาครับแล้วก็มาใช้ในวันนี้ครับ
We improved a lot because yesterday we learned from the replay and how we play yesterday and try to make it better for today.
And that's why you guys win and get one of Booyahs today. Can you send some fans a message who are cheering for you now?
ฝากข้อความถึงแฟนๆหน่อยค่ะ
ฝากเชียร์พวกผมด้วยนะครับ จะทำให้เต็มที่ที่สุดครับ CG ครับ
Please support us. We are trying our best. CGGG.
Thank you so much and hope I see you in the final game. Thank you CGGG and see you in the last game. Be right back. Back to you, Shoutcaster.
Is the curse going to continue? Will C-Triple-G get a booyah next round?
I mean, they already got a booyah, so they broke the curse. And all they now need to do is just catch up with a team that set a massive record with 37 points.
I think the record doesn't even matter.
Does it not?
In C-Triple-G's case, no, not really.
At this point, yes. Unless, of course, they do decently well, which RRQ can definitely do. They just have to place average. Even if they go on another round of continuous revivals, as long as they get close enough towards that final circle, it's going to be enough to maintain that #1 spot.
Right, we've got our elimination leaders for the round, and we do have C-Triple-G taking that first place with Kha'Zix. 5 eliminations under his belt, but his teammate is also there, Peter, in 5th place.
He looks upset.
I mean...
Koskio looks like just a simple, happy man.
Yeah, Peter's like,
Oh.
how come I didn't get the #1 spot?
Really interesting. So the MVP for the round is one more. Is anyone going to contest the decision here?
No, not really. I think
No.
one more has been a very good support player, right?
Yes.
Kim,
I think
one more
his-
supports
yeah.
a lot. On Fire is kind of like the Russia. And these two together are a very strong dynamic duo. And C-Triple-G, one of the few teams that is running the Tatsuya currently in this Group B versus C grouping.
Yes. Thank you, Husky.
You're welcome.
All right, as we have a quick look here at the stats for C-Triple-G for their latest round, we are going to take a look at the point standings very soon. But after this, we're going to find out what this final map is going to be. And I think the players are also going to discover it at the exact same time as we are. So they have a short period of time to figure out what they're going to be doing on that map. But here's the game standings for the 5th game of the day. C-Triple-G locking in 25 points for the round. And oh, that went very quickly, so I didn't get to see the rest. But oh my goodness.
1 point. 21 points they needed, and they equalize. How insane is that?
And Free Fire is, sometimes I believe it's rigged because
It's
you have
rigged.
moments like this, which is
What?
pretty insane. Look at
There
this.
we go.
They're 1 point ahead of RQ right now.
Look, RRQ did not have the best round. I think that's something that
unfortunate.
has to be said.
Yeah.
So for C-Triple-G to be up there, they deserve it. But now if you're RRQ, you need to contest for that position back. So what are you expecting to do when you don't even know what the map is? Just play.
Don't split up.
Just play like they did on Kalahari on every map.
Absolutely.
Yeah, life is like a box of chocolates. You don't know which maps you're going to get.
Huh?
I should phrase it better. Free Fire is like a box of chocolates. You don't know which maps you will get.
You don't know which chocolate you're going to get. Jeez.
When I first heard that, I was confused as well.
No, actually, no, I was too.
It sounded right in my head.
As it always does.
All right. We are
Box
going
of
to find
chocolates
out.
time. Let's go.
Let's open this box of chocolate and see which one are we going to get. Hopefully it's not the white chocolate because nobody eats white chocolate.
I disagree with you.
No.
The
We
map
all eat white
is
I'm a
chocolate.
white chocolate guy.
Purgatory.
I'm a white chocolate guy, okay?
It's an RRQ, Kazu, and C-Triple-G map.
That's
Both
terrifying.
Of these
This is dark chocolate.
Is it dark chocolate?
White chocolate is Alpine.
It's a white chocolate for RRQ. I'm going to say that.
teams. Where is this conversation?
Look at
gonna
this
go?
recap.
This is not where RRQ wanted to go though, right? So if you're RRQ and you're seeing this map and you know that you're trying to chase C-Triple-G, you need to pull out all the stops in this final map.
If you're RRQ, this is where you want to go because you got the booyah earlier. So.
But it was a slow booyah, right? It was not a booyah where they were running over people.
I remember specifically saying I actually think that was a bit of a lucky booyah for the team. Because remember, they came in from an angle where nobody was. Everyone was fighting on the eastern side of the circle. They came in from the western side. So they just came in and cleaned everyone up. Because there was like, what, 2 teams left with 1 player.
You know you can
This
decide
is-
where to go on the map.
This is a rare moment where I have to agree with Danny because if you compare like if you want to look at which round was more convincing for RQ Kazu, I would take Kalahari any day.
Obviously.
So you agree?
No, I mean, that was a massive record-breaking round, so obviously Kalahari was better.
But they also had a big influence on that map, right? Like, they actively got eliminations. They were being proactive on that map, whereas for that Purgatory round, they were quite passive.
As they have always been, except that some of the other passive rounds, they were breaking apart. They were not sticking together. In Purgatory, they actually stuck together, got to that final circle. They proved to us that they could get that booyah.
If I'm not mistaken, was that the map that they did the 1-1-2 split? I'm trying to remember.
Yes,
they 1-1-2 on Purgatory. Okay.
Correct. But not too far away because
yes,
in
they were
their
pretty close.
Correct,
Yes.
yeah. And nobody else was around their compound, so it was okay to take a decent enough split, not too far away from each other. And that's all they need to do for this final game.
For this last round, I actually have WAG in my sidelines because even when you look at yesterday, we say that RRQ Kazu was a sleeper team, right? No one was looking at them too much. WAG actually didn't do too bad either. They had 63 points. They finished 5th yesterday, and even today they had some pretty decent, rounds. Just that a lot of times when we look at them, they got wiped out. And I believe it's a camera issue.
WAG thus far has had 4 points on Purgatory. Sir?
Oh, thank God it's Purgatory. I didn't want to say the whole day. I was like, man.
Jeez.
Sir, I don't think this is going to check out for them. Obviously, it's going to be a heavy fight between RRQ as well as CGG. My biggest question is, who's going to get over-aggressive and get punished for that early between the two?
The final circle was between, I believe, RRQ and Loud? Or was it like EXPS on first Purgatory?
For the first Purgatory?
Yeah. I had a feeling it was against
and
Loud.
WAS Poco.
Poco.
Yes. There were 2 teams. I remember there were 2 players, 2 different teams, yeah. So they're literally just sweeping the competition because 4 players against 2 singles.
The last time that didn't work out was like when Evo's Phoenix was playing. That was last year.
Yeah. Well, the players...
I'm waiting to see when is EXPS going to wake up again. I mean, they showed up strong. Then they just went silent.
That's actually true, right? The team sort of petered out after their fantastic start today.
Yeah.
So
they sort of got stopped by like CGG, right? They were constantly running into their own region. It's kind of like this friendly fire situation. Props to CGG, they were shutting down EXPS pretty well as well. They were taking advantage of high grounds. They were out microing EXPS. In these moments, I think CGG did a great job.
When you bring that up, it makes me wonder, is CGG intentionally chasing EXPS?
That's no way.
I mean, they wouldn't know, right? But if that's the intention,
it depends, right, on how EXPS is playing. Like, if they're playing as if they would usually play, then that trend is going to help CGG chase them down.
Oh, we'll see. I mean, we'll
find out.
They're both dropping in the opposite direction. So.
All right. So where is everyone dropping? That's the most important thing.
EXPS is going to go Ski Lodge for sure. That's where they drop. The first time we saw Purgatory.
Yeah.
And I believe WAG was near them.
Correct.
And this time WAG, they're going to make some adjustments. They will keep that distance.
RRQ and CGG are actually both dropping onto the southern island. This could be pivotal. Whoever wins this is going to take over the other team, assuming they don't immediately die afterwards. But yes.
The ones with the advantage here is RRQ because unlike their previous matches, they're actually deciding to stick together this time. And they do have a compound on the left-hand side to work around with. WASK, early, hot drop, Poco. They switch out one another and Sonia helps out. And he actually scores it. That's the first Sonia save.
And he has the Orion also to help him out. That is crazy. YNS. What a shot from just point blank. They do lose Xenius. Zizok actually gets the reset as well. The Sonya, he got the knock onto Liam. This was an intentional hard drop from Poco Stars, and they're paying a heavy price.
And this is the first time you're actually seeing Sonia check out for his squad back to back. Fantastic play coming through from WASK of all teams.
I mean, Cosq just set the record for the longest elimination distance, which is 109 meters onto Razor.
Oh, but hang on. Take a look at the elimination feed. We're seeing RRQ dropping to CGG. Oh, no. This could be terrible if RRQ are not able to recover.
And RRQ had the whole squad against two person from CGG as well. And they lost 2.
Oh, my. And they did still have a compound on the left to play around with, so... Perhaps the engagements that have slowed down is indicative of RRQ breaking away from that engagement. But of course,
Possibly.
Oh, his leg!
no way for us to find out
Ah, they got
that
him.
right now as Spoko 18 Deer finds yet another shutdown alongside Raz.
Oh my goodness.
Man,
C Triple G with 4 elims.
Remember, it was a 2v4. It was just Cosq and I believe on fire and Cosq and one more, and on fire was playing from like long range. So things went horribly for RRQ.
Osaka. Osaka just got a nade onto Lost 31. Osaka's having a good day.
Oh man.
Kawan down as well. PE
Oh my
Sports
gosh.
choosing to hop on into this battle. But there is a vending machine and a revival point here if Noda can get to it. But nothing needs to be done as Mexico gets to the vending machine first, buys back his 2 partners. And PE Sports will rotate all around outside towards Marble Works, this time to meet Osaka instead.
Loud is having a rough second half of the day.
I feel like it's not even second half. It's like after the first 2 games, the team just petered out.
Kalahari was
They
like
did.
the point of no return for him.
Yes. Yeah.
Lovely shot from Chris, actually able to at least cash in on 1 point before he goes down. Coast is also gone.
Oh, GOW is just sneaking away all of the eliminations off of the hard work of PE Sports. I mean, high time GOW actually did something out there. And if it's going to be vulturing upon another team's hard work, I'm actually still going to take it.
And I think we just saw PokerStars actually eliminating 2 players from WASK off the side of the screen. We didn't get to see it. It was on the elimination feed. But we are going to switch on over to RRQ. Now, they did manage to pick up their players, so they are back to a full roster. But remember, with 2 players that got eliminated, they're going to have to try and figure out what they're going to do with their looting situation.
RRQ is trying to set up an ambush here. They are anticipating a rush from C Triple G. Look at this setup. Razor on the right flank, Duts on the left with the AC-80, Legalot as well as Abe going to be holding down the middle fort. Cosq, the first one alongside On Fire to go out here on a little bit of a skirmish attempt, but they're not going to find anyone just yet.
If you have a vehicle like C Triple G, you actually have an advantage in this situation, right? You get to just bomb rush RRQ Kazu,
Yeah.
which they do not really need to do at this point, but at least they know that they have that maneuverability. I think they use the binoculars. Not sure if they spot out anyone from RRQ just yet, but they definitely are making headway with that rotation.
The scouting party getting slowed down, and this is good, but I don't really like the amount of spacing between the players of C Triple G. 1 knock, and it's going to be pretty devastating. And the recovery is not going to be as easy because of how far spread out they are. Poco, on the other hand, 5 eliminations already. They're having a fantastic start.
Let them have their cake and eat it. You're playing on the high ground, going to try and use this vision to potentially spot any players. I think this is really good news here for PokerStars. Oh, hang on a minute.
Whoa.
C Triple G are right next to Razor.
This is, I mean, I thought RRQ had a great flank setup, and C Triple G kind of undoing that by wrapping around all the way towards the left.
Now they definitely see Razor, that UAV.
Cluster gets a quick tag. Razor backs away.
Is the team looking to go for a backstab? If you take a look at the map, right, you've got 2 players actually coming in for a wraparound.
Actually, you do not even need to deal with Razor. They realize that, wait, Razor is out of position. We are going to rush the rest of RRQ. We're going to start taking over their compound, right? Legalov is on the roof. Abe is forced away. Dutz is now realizing that, man, I have a grenade launcher, but there's no target for me to shoot it at. I don't think we're in a good position to fight this.
Khan still being tortured by New K. PE Sports got their eyes out for Team Loud. The Brazilians being tortured a little bit. Cosq. A little bit of a downtime there on the jump, and On Fire down on the ground. Gets picked right back up, put back down. Cosq down as well. And this is the turnaround. RRQ, the setup, the ambush is successful.
C Triple G had the right idea to go for the rush, but they were unfortunate. They got caught up by Legalov and Razor at the end. Couldn't capitalize on the small window that they made for themselves. This could be the end for Peter.
I think this is the end for Peter. He's all alone. He is completely wrapped around
One
by
more is back up.
RRQ. Oh, they do manage to... I don't think...
Yes. What?
Oh my gosh. Peter goes down. Last member of C Triple G, 12th place.
Yeah, give them the clap. Clap them off stage. That's what you want to do if you're
Big
RRQ.
brain play from RRQ. I mean, when you are on that bottom island, it's either Lumber Mill, Fire Brigade, or the Central. But, you know, they backed away towards Central first. They just waited for an opportunity. They set up a fantastic ambush. And RRQ, they kind of got outsmarted because C-Triple-G wrapped around even further down below. And RRQ just didn't see that. They backed away first defensively and then set up yet another ambush, which this time they successfully executed thanks to that high ground advantage. Smart play, and they should be able to walk away with the #1 spot.
Yeah. And I think it's not on C-Triple-G as well. I feel like they made the right call to go for that rush. It's just the window to make it happen was very tiny, and they missed that window.
Yeah.
The only thing that can help out C-Triple-G now is if RRQ literally gets wiped out.
Right now.
Right here, right now.
They gotta go.
Oh.
They'll still end up this day with a 2-point lead. So let's see if that does happen. WASK, it was a good day thus far until EXPS showed up.
Actually, I think it was WASK to run into EXPS, right? Because Stop was just basically camping the top of that hill right there. But we know what EXPS love to do. If they see blood, they're going to go for it.
Oh, they just took out Genius, and Casper actually gets down. So Stop will try to provide some bit of assistance. YNS rushing in already. This is the way to deal with it. Do not let EXPS breathe, but YNS is taking just copious amount of damage. Stop would ring around the rosy, finds the knock. Caramel supporting him from afar with that nade, and the EXPS able to hang on.
Ali trying to run away for his life, but there's just nowhere you can go from a position like this. To the watchtower, and Stop puts a quick end to that alongside you with the M82B. Straight up headshot. The elimination by Stop. WASK still has got one final survivor in Zizox as well as a revival platform right in front of him. But here comes EXPS.
Oh.
I guess this is the end.
It might be.
I think it is.
We're going to switch on over to a different team, though. We've got the point of view here of RRQ, and they are about to run into God of Wolf. Now, the question is, who is going to be running into who? Is it God of Wolf or RRQ to force this engagement? It looks like both teams are just going to sit tight, play defensively, figure things out later on when they're forced to move.
RRQ just needs 2 more eliminations to take that #1 spot, but of course, they will be looking to go for the Booyah as well. Let's see if they can get there. As Lost 21 still hasn't been revived yet from the squad. The Brazilians struggling a tad bit, although Mexico and Noda have proven themselves out there. And PE Esports really has something out there for Loud this time around.
And WESK has been wiped out as well by EXPS.
My goodness.
And Loud is having a rough time. Again, these last 3 rounds, especially Kalahari, have not been kind to the Brazilians. Poco Stars just have the high ground. PE Sports, they have long range weapons, and Loud are stuck outside with not much resources to work with.
The circle's not going to hurt all that too much, so
Yet.
they still have a little bit of time to play around outside the blue. The time is running out though. God of Wolf, good defensive setup. RRQ out in the open, and RRQ just not making any cheeky mistakes here. And God of Wolf is actually going to choose to abandon their defensive position, move towards the safe zone, and potentially come across Furious Gaming and a couple of players from Loud.
Man, Cowan just dropped into a hot zone. And
oh no!
He is gone. I mean, Loud, I believe there's only one more guy left. This just could be the end of the round for them, honestly. This day 1 for Loud had a decent start, but the ending pretty ugly.
So reverse momentum for the team. They started off strong, and then as they just slowly lost that momentum throughout the day, wasn't able to pick anything up, and I guess the team is... We don't know what's happening internally, right? Like, we don't know if the team is struggling mentally, if maybe something has happened throughout the day that they sort of lost their sync, because we have to remember, when you're playing a team game, it is very important to be synchronized with your teammates, right? To understand what they are going to do and have them understand how you are going to play. But we do have
one of those few teams that let's prioritize that a lot. I mean, they do have FG to deal with. In terms of power ranking, this is definitely a good appetizer. It's not the hardest team to fight into, but you also have to worry about GOW on the other end.
This is a good engagement. They take out PE Esports first. Good snipe by Axel, but the finisher though, the follow-up is going to be very important. Hawang gets picked right back up. EXPS gonna try to avenge some of the players from the side of Loud, and perhaps Loud can have something to say about this as well. Noda outside of the circle. PE Sports still focusing to take him out. UK down. EXPS, they strike. RGS 50 in the hands of Caramel, and I believe he's got the M82B as well. Stopped with one ice grenade, but nobody's there for the defense. UK is gonna be abandoned as Don't Cry holds the fort for the rest of his team members as they try to back away.
And EXPS is just not letting anyone go. Lau has been eliminated, unfortunately. Note that the last survivor runs into 2 full squads, so there's nothing that he can do about it. Expand now gets to gatekeep EXPS. This is a big moment for Expand.
The high ground advantage that EXPS has, though, is going to be taken away by the circle as it continues to close in. Expand just needs to hunker down and hold on to the defensive position. All of the action just happening towards their right-hand side. The circle is going to drag them there as well. And like you said, Husky, if they can gatekeep EXPS, this is going to be a big round for Expand.
This is a good circle for them, even though they have to move a little bit, but they get access to a lot of teams around them who are probably scrambling to get into the safe zone. Look at that southern side of the circle. There are at least 3 teams, 4 teams. RRQ taking on Furious Gaming on the roof.
Okay, that's 5th elimination there. They just need 1 more for that #1 spot. Abe shuts down 1 more player. I believe that's Pocho down on the ground. No shutdown in terms of the squad just yet as GOW hops on into this battle, saving Furious Gaming.
Oh man, 3 teams on this rooftop. We've got RRQ on the roof. We've got 2 teams inside the compound. There's only so much room left for these teams to move, but at some point they're going to have to go because they can't share this real estate for much longer.
That's the 6-point confirmation, so RRQ does end day #2 in the #1 spot. But can they be the very first team to break through and get 3 booyahs for themselves?
Oh, Furious Gaming taking a little bit of damage there.
EXPS able to make it to the center of the circle somehow.
Oi, Caramel!
Caramel, he's under a lot of pressure. Expand is also looking at him. Don't cry. Oh, doesn't want to let Caramel move away. Hong Ang will finish the job. So lovely stuff, lovely coordination from the side of P Esports. And look at Expand. They have a great area to work with.
RGS 50 just popping off from the top of the roof there. Dolphin out with a cluster on top of everything else, and RRQ leading the lobby with the most number of eliminations. Another RGS 50 pump. Does he get the knock by his MKS down to the circle? And RRQ is just going to rocket from the top of this roof here. It's all going to be dependent on this next circle, whether or not RRQ stands a good chance to walk away with the booyah as well.
And they also destroyed the vehicle of Lim, so Lim is going to be free foot. The circle does move away from RRQ.
Right in the face.
And Dutz gives him the face full of lead, but Ko steals it away. But it's okay,
gosh.
Razor pumps in the 10th anyway by taking out a straggler. Osaka is in the center of the circle.
RRQ doesn't really need to do much for the next 10 seconds, but if they don't start to move, GOW might just be able to catch them off guard. If they move a little bit too early, GOW still stands a strong chance against them. It's all about
Expand.
How they put a stop to GOW as they go to meet Osaka instead.
Expand makes their first move onto the roof. It's Cobra finding 18 deer. Poco Star getting flushed out. As Cobra picks him off and Expand making some headway. Just at the edge of the circle. EXPS also due under a lot of fire, and Cobra wants to cash in as much points as possible. They also see Stop attempting to hide behind a tree. And Malaysia, I mean, Expand in a good spot.
Expand picking up the 3rd knock, and this is gonna convert into an elimination any second now. Narrow out of the equation. P Esports hanging on by a thread as Don't Cry accidentally takes Hao Ang down. This is just a little unfortunate. This is not what you expect out of your team member. EXPS spending the time outside of the blue. This is just a death wish.
Stop needs to move right now. Cobra finding the drop onto Hong Ang. So just freeing out a bit of breathing room for the side of Expand. And look at that. They are taking so much control now, putting the pressure back onto EXPS. Casper does have the UNP, but around the corner gets tagged. Big cluster from on top of the roof. Crime and Chaos finds Stop, but RRQ, now they're going to turn their attention over to Expand. Cobra does get dropped, but picks himself back up.
Expand looking for their first booyah, the first lobby where they're going to actually perform decently well for themselves. But RRQ looking for a massive booyah as well from up top on the roof. That bird's eye advantage. It looks like they are going to be able to walk away with the most number of information. View all alone too fast. Goes in for the execution. M1014, 1 bump. Guy doesn't nail it.
It's a good attempt from Expand, but they did get rid of Dew. So Cobra picks himself back up, and Too Fast will receive assistance. So Expand still has the whole team left alive. Osaka is giving them a lot of headache, but I think Expand, they are going to slowly be able to push on forward, but they also have to watch out for RRQ.
RRQ is actually fighting with God of Wolf. They're in literally the exact same vicinity, so that if they're going to actually try and make it to that late game, they need to support each other.
Razor has to leave there right now. He's getting flushed out by all the glue wall melters. Expand just playing together as a unit.
Great movements by Expand, but Too Fast needs to stop leading the charge here. He needs to let his rusher get the job done. Axel as well as Cobra. Perhaps if they can push up a little bit more, they're going to stand a good chance against Razor. And it is Too Fast that pushes on with that M1014. And now God of Wolf on that right-hand side. Osaka straight inside that house. They don't want to step out just yet.
Oh, I love this move. Expand are just playing together so synchronized. They are putting a lot of pressure on both Osaka and GOW, who are busy dealing with each other. And Dian is going to get pumped in the face by Chris, and he ends up going down. But the outside of the house is also in danger because Expand are flooding in. Can they clear out GOW? That is going to be the big question. Iza God barricades himself with a blue wall. Cobra dashes away to safety. They need some reposition. Take a deep breath.
The players
they
are
don't
getting
have to rush
blocked in.
this.
Some of the players are actually getting blocked outside. So if they don't break those glue walls, they might actually just succumb to the safe zone. Yeah, they have to go now.
Expand choosing the right fight here. GOW, they have been barricaded right outside.
Osaka from behind.
All of these glue walls and their own glue walls against them. Volley gets cried. This is just absolute chaos. Pandemonium as a maze of glue walls stops all of these players. Too Fast down and out of the equation. Osaka inside. Esteban holding on for his dear life. Expand out in the third. And Osaka hangs on to pick up their very first booyah.
Their very first booyah in the last game of the day. We were wondering when this team was going to finally get it. And of course, they did it in the last game.
They did what Furious Gaming couldn't for LATAM. They bagged the first booyah for the region. But that last circle, definitely very, very dicey. Expand had a good chance. But they were pincered. Osaka flanked them, and Cobra could not handle 5 people on his own. Nonetheless, one of the best rounds for Expand despite not getting the booyah at the end.
I mean, it was a great round for both Expand as well as Osaka. Both of these teams have been struggling all throughout the day, and to make it into the final circle, to get massive number of eliminations for both of these teams, fantastic. But of course, Osaka handling the situation a little bit more better than God of Wolf as well as Expand. They were inside that house. All they needed to do was just very smartly break through those blue walls, get out. But they didn't. They just kind of played the interior of that house, went towards the very edge, didn't even hop out of that window, and they forced the fight straight to their own home front.
Pajaro is just a ball of joy. And in round 5, they were top two. Round 6, they got the booyah, so Osaka able to kind of get some extra point injections towards the very end.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a great way to end the day for Osaka. They got the points that they wanted. They do have another day to play to get even more points to guarantee their top 12 placement. Now, of course, it's not going to be determined purely by this week, but we will figure things out with them in just a short moment. But RRQ, I think, regardless, they got the points that they needed, right? They have managed to stay on top of the leaderboard, or at least finish the week on top of the leaderboard over CGGG. Whether they stay above Buriram and Magic Squad and everyone else, I suppose, in tomorrow's matches, we won't know until tomorrow actually happens and what kind of influence Group C is going to have against Group A. But speaking of that influence, we've got a glimpse of Group C now, right?
Yeah.
What are we kind of feeling is going to happen tomorrow? Do we actually think that there's going to be a challenge for Buriram and Magic Squad with the addition of Group C?
I think Group A and C are very balanced. They've got 2 titans in each of these groups and 4 average teams who are struggling to find their rhythm. So you're going to have both of the groups do well. I wouldn't really say it's a group thing. I would say it's more of a team thing. And Buriram, just with 1 day of play yesterday, has still outplayed the performance of all of the teams from the side of Group C. So there's a high probability your 2-time world champ continue to dominate.
Honestly, the most consistent team from Group C is EXPS.
And they weren't even consistent.
Yeah. So if you just base off of that, I think Group A is probably the most solid group right now.
Stable group.
Group B, you have, I suppose CWG is the best bet you have. RQ Kazu is a close second, but that's pretty much it.
So it could potentially just be the domination of Group A again with the addition of Group C.
There is a potential that EXP Esports
steps up,
goes into an explosive mode tomorrow, because they started off really hot today. They fizzled out after the 3rd game. If that does not happen tomorrow, if we've got a good fight between Loud and Buriram maybe, or maybe even Magic Esports as well as Buriram, then teams like EXPS, they have a really strong chance. But you've got 4 titans taking the fight tomorrow. I think it's going to be a really hot one.
All right, so I do believe we have an interview lined up, so we're going to be able to get some thoughts here for Osaka after getting their first booyah of the tournament.
It's been an incredible journey so far and sensational play indeed from every team. But now we got our last winner with us, Osaka! Congratulations! Finally, this is your first Booyah in day 2 and it's the last game. How do you feel about that?
¿Cómo te sientes al respecto de que este fue su primer Booyah y que aparte fue en el juego en el día 2 y en el juego número 6?
No, la verdad muy felices, la verdad empezamos al principio un poco mal, pero pues con este Booyah nos recompusimos un montón y no, pues muy feliz, estoy muy orgulloso de eso.
Well, they're really happy about it. They started the day quite poorly. However, they started to regain composure, and now this Booyah made them feel so much better for the next day.
And in which aspect, what aspect do you think your team needs to adjust your strategy to gain more Booyah in other days?
¿En qué aspectos crees que el equipo tenga que reajustar la estrategia para conseguir más Booyahs en los días siguientes?
Bueno, yo creo que primero tenemos que mejorar la estrategia en caída, ya que pues en varios mapas peleamos caída, entonces tenemos que mejorar eso y saber cuándo nos van a carroñar y saber rotar también después de eso y pues yo siento que más que todo la caída, que fue lo que más nos perjudicó el día de hoy.
So the main aspect is to change their strategy around the fall, the landing, because they had to fight for the landing many times in the past, and that's where they usually lost. And also be prepared for the teams who are aiming for the kills, fishing for the final kills, that, and also rotating right after the landing. But the landing is the main aspect they need to work on.
Work on the landing the most, right?
Yes.
We have 18 teams in this competition. Which team do you think is the weakest opponent and why?
Hay 18 equipos en esta competencia. ¿Qué equipo crees tú que es el más débil y por qué?
Bueno, la verdad yo siento que todos son muy buenos, pero a lo mejor me guiaría por la tabla, que sería Wax, que pues no van muy bien tampoco que digamos, entonces pues me guiaría por la tabla más que todo.
Well, he thinks that everybody's really good. However, if he had to name one, he would guide himself on the table, and he says that Wask is probably the team that's having the toughest time right now in the competition.
Right. And anything you want to say to your opponents?
¿Algo que le quieras decir a tus rivales?
Nada, que la TAM también es fuerte, también podemos hacer muchos Booyahs, podemos matar también muchos, así que se atengan que venimos con toda.
That Latam is super strong, that we can achieve multiple Booyahs and multiple kills, so be prepared for the level.
Yeah, you have to gotta keep an eye on Osaka. Thank you so much and congratulations once again. This is only day 2 for the knockout stage and we have more to come. Don't forget to stay tuned and see you tomorrow. Bye-bye for now. Bye.
Not only did Osaka get the Booyah for the round, but I'm going to say they got the Booyah for interviews today because I think they gave us probably some of the most detailed and well-spoken responses.
I have to agree. And, you know, a lot of respect as well. You know, he didn't really name the weakest team. He just named the team that was struggling the most. I guess they understand because they have been struggling for their own fair share of rounds as well.
Yeah, the first 3 rounds they got like 11 points, right? So at one point, they was halfway through the day, they were slated to be the worst performing team overall in that context. But when you look at LATAM as a region, you have Furious Gaming, All Glory Gaming, these 2 big names, and then Osaka was kind of like the wild card, and I'm glad that they were the first one to get the Booyah for the region.
And Chris actually walks away with the elimination lead here with 7 to his name, followed by the 2 Vietnamese players, Izagod as well as D Quang, both from God of Wolf.
That's actually pretty interesting. God of Wolf actually getting a lot of eliminations for the round. Yeah. MVP is going to go to Chris on the side of Osaka with the 7 eliminations, 3 headshots, and 2.3 thousand damage. Gentlemen, I kind of want to talk about something that was mentioned in the interview. The fact that Osaka values their drop point so much, right? They were saying that for them, they struggled because they really had to consistently fight for those drop points and they were always losing.
Yeah.
And you look at the team that contest them the most today, RRQ Kazu.
Yeah.
At least I think 2 or 3 rounds they had to fight with RRQ Kazu early on. But when you look at the last 2 rounds where they had a good finish, it was because their drop point was uncontested and they were able to get into the circle with their compound uncontested as well.
Yeah.
So I think my opinion would actually be the exact opposite of yours, Danny. They are not that mindful of their drop spot because they actually started off the day with an advantage. They already knew exactly what to expect out of RRQ. They could have kind of avoided them. They got caught the first time, and then the second time and the third time. It is probably something that they just had to learn the hard way. But now that they've gotten into this rhythm already, and tomorrow they don't have to deal with Group B, hopefully we see more of Osaka.
Well, I mean, they also have information from Group A as well. They can
Yeah.
always go back to yesterday's VODs to see where everyone is currently dropping. But yeah, there's the game standings.
Wait.
I think we got the wrong.
Osaka got the booyah.
Yeah.
This is definitely not C-Triple G.
Yeah.
I know the broadcast is in Thailand. I know they have the best team. It just you can't do this to
Thailand's
Osaka.
like, we're gonna take it.
You can't
this.
take the moment from Osaka. Okay?
Yes, we will fix this. We're going to leave that for now. So game.
It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant.
Yeah. We're not
This
gonna
is
look at
this is game 5's standing because X-Men got 7 points.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
game 5.
So we're going to pretend nothing happened here. But we know Osaka.
We're gonna pretend nothing is happening at the moment as well. Don't look at the graphics, listen to our voice.
Yes. Although we will need to be a little bit mindful. I don't know if they're going to show the overall standings. I don't know if I think it might be correct. We'll find out in just a second.
I'm pretty sure someone's panicking in the background and they're fixing it right now as we speak.
Someone's job is on the line. Don't make it hard.
Don't make it harder for that person. He's already panicking. He's like, ah!
It's fine. We won't worry about it too much. We'll take a look at it in a little bit. But yeah, don't worry about the standings, ladies and gentlemen. But we do need to sort of consider what's going to happen tomorrow, right? So it's going to be Groups A versus C. Teams in Group B are basically sitting on the sidelines praying that they can maintain their positions, right? Because that is essentially what is going to be happening. At the same time, I want you guys to sort of consider.
There he is.
There we go. All right, here's the correct updated point. So Osaka, 22 points, very valuable. We've been waiting for this booyah to happen, and it finally did. God of Wolf taking home 18 points alongside Expand, which Expand also has been struggling to get those points. So really happy for them to get the 18. RRQ Kazu ending the day, ending the weekend with 17 points. This is massive. This is going to put them back on top of that leaderboard. They're going to be so happy with their position. EXP Esports 11. Bit not too great for that team. I know they're expecting a lot more for their points. But we know if we zoom on down to 9th place, C-Triple-G, because they ended in 12th place or 11th, they got 0 points for placements. They did get 5 eliminations, but I'll argue they did best them in that battle on the island towards the southern section of that map. But yeah, so going back onto the discussion that I kind of wanted to have, right? We understood that teams in Group A and B, a lot of the points were being siphoned towards the top 2 teams, right? Magic Squad and Buriram. Is it going to be the case again? Because I think Husky said it nicely before, right? When it comes to consistency between the 2 groups, Group A, the teams there, massively consistent. They've proven themselves with teams in Group B. Now that Group B is paired up with C, a lot less consistent if you want to do the comparison for teams in Group C.
I think the 2 teams that were consistent yesterday were consistent today as well from Group B. You're looking at C-Triple-G as well as
RRQ.
RRQ, correct. So they both definitely delivered. I don't think the 2 teams that performed from Group A is going to drop the ball tomorrow. You're talking about Buriram as well as Magic.
I don't think they're going to drop the ball. I think they're going to suck up all the points.
I think a lot of eyes will be on Torret, right? Because Torret right now, they've only played 6 rounds, so they're in 16th place. And we had a lot of high hopes for this team, right? They were Express Raiders Eclipse, very, very experienced squad, but yet here they are. So I think tomorrow, if you want to really look at a team, because we put WSK aside, they are done for the week. But for Torret, they have 6 more rounds to play.
And Dew still holds on to that $10,000 at least for this point of time. 2 MVP titles to his name. Once again, the overall MVP of the Free Fire World Series walks away with an extra $10,000 bonus.
This is just on top of the prize money. Whatever they win, you got 10K just for the MVP leader. So Dew, obviously, he's going to be hoping to maintain his position on the MVP leader. But yeah, gentlemen, that is going to be it for day 2 for week 1 of the knockout stage. We still have one more day, and that's going to be Sunday with groups A versus C. But if you've been cheering for teams in Group B, they are done for this week. They'll be sitting on the sidelines. They'll be spectating the games alongside us. So if you want to say anything to them to give them motivation for next week, do so now. Send them a tweet, send them a Facebook message. Make sure you support your teams, because every little bit of encouragement is going to help them move forward at the world stage, because let's be real, high stress situation competing at this level.
Send birthday wishes to Too Fast. You still
and
have,
yes,
you still have 35 minutes to do that.
Happy birthday,
Too Fast.
Good job. Final game. I mean, they managed to bounce right back up. But tomorrow is going to be the biggest test for the MCPS squad, also for Loud as well as...
Well, that's it for us. We will see you all tomorrow, so make sure you come back at the exact same time for our final game for this week.